All right, I'm here. Well, that's good. Ah, that's cool, man. Enjoy.
Your repurposed freighter drifts through
Chris.
space.
Hanging in there,
As
man.
you stare out at the star-flecked void, another ship comes in. Wait, is this sci-fi? I thought we agreed on a World War II campaign. Oh. Did we? That's cool. I can pivot. The smell of smoke curdles in your nostrils. Hold up, I thought we were prepping for a zombie apocalypse campaign. Alright, here's what we're doing. It's the year 3700. Humanity's elite fled to other planets long ago, taking with them all forms of advanced technology. Earth survivors scraped by with historic tools as weird phenomena,
I saw
plague,
that.
abandoned
Yep.
nuclear
I couldn't
sites.
get
Witnesses
Alan
report
Grody
seeing
works,
glowing lights and
Rick
the dead
Miller
rising from their graves. And amidst
works,
the
I
chaos,
think, and
three strangers will meet in a
Gary's
dim
not
bar.
available,
A
so
veteran
I
zombie
tried.
slayer,
Okay,
a
well,
disgraced
yeah,
general out for
that's
revenge,
good.
and a
Thank you
space
for trying,
mercenary sent
but
to
yeah, we
investigate
have
the power plants. Now
to.
describe your
It'll be
characters.
fine. We're good.
How did you do that? I have the right tools for the job.
Whew. All right, let's see. Hanging in there, Chris. As I said, man, things are good. We're early still, right? Yeah, it's on. Yeah, look at that. It's pretty early. Good, good, good.
A story once spoken is ageless. The dungeon imagined without end. The curious are the ones most courageous. The tree that endures has to bend. From stillness the mad mage is stirring. From countless voices the castle takes shape. Zagig will test the enduring. Those unlucky will never escape.
Cool. Good. Well, hey, we'll do our best. Hey, Witch. Hey, Star. It'll be fun. Tensor's one of my top 2 favorites on the Circle, the original Circle. So, but we got a lot of resources, so we're gonna pull up a lot of different sources of material. It's really good that we got a whole bunch of it this time. So. Hey, Fuzz. Let me see while I'm doing this. Let me hit this.
Hi,
do
welcome
this.
back to Gamescape 3D.
Get the classic D&D
Today
reprint
we're gonna
giveaway
do
started.
paint,
So don't forget
one of our
that.
little peasant houses to show how easy
Last day of the
it is
month
to
here.
paint. Here's the peasant
Last day,
house I
April.
paint today. It has been primered black.
Okay.
Okay, so we're all ready to go.
Righty.
So I got about 3 minutes into it so far.
It's going to be at least a
And then we hit
GREYHAWK reference guide, and then probably an adventure as well.
Flatboards here for the loft.
So.
And then I got.
Yep.
A little
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of stuff, so I'm thinking something like Tomb of the Lizard King or Against the Cult of the Reptile God.
And this could be
along with
resin
a
printed or
GREYHAWK reference
FDM
book,
printed.
which I got a whole bunch of those too.
And
So we
lastly,
got a lot of options here.
we have
Ton of options.
a little ragtag door to put on the front with a
Yep.
filament hinge. All right. In terms of prepping the models, sometimes
What's that? Why is that dragger here? Is they shipping to Canada again? Is that what you're talking about? Or new month, new budget? Oh, I was like, what?
Resin will just settle in there when it's
That's funny.
Kind of harden. Sometimes with these doors,
That's cool.
it might just be a little.
Got a
off,
really huge
you know,
announcement for
and then
tomorrow
you clean
night's
it out. If you do,
continuation
use a
game.
drill bit. 5/64 is the size.
Karen of the Skeleton King.
To clean out.
Super cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So if I have a door there,
So
I just
got that out. All right, I'm sitting to start. Nah, for Thursday night's game tomorrow night. It's good. It's just it's a really great giveaway. First time giveaway from a company. So yeah.
So we got those holes cleaned out. Should be plenty of room now for our filament, and we will continue on.
Give me one more second. I got something I got to do here.
Alright, the first thing I'm going to be doing is applying brown onto the timber frames. And I'm going to use a pretty good sized brush. I don't care about getting brown everywhere for this first part. In fact, it's preferred. So there's my brown again. Kind of on the lighter side of a mid-tone. Now I don't want to use so much brown that I'm filling in the details, of course. And if some of the black primer comes through, that's all the better. You definitely don't want to waste your time creating an even coat around this. It'll actually take away from it in the end, and it's kind of just a waste of time. You can go do something else. Do make sure you kind of hit the tops and the bottoms of your timbers, okay? Don't just paint the face of these things, because you're not going to be coming back later to hit these sides. This is kind of.
We have to do one thing. I'm trying to do it real quick here.
Unless you absolutely have to come back in to do a little touch up. Okay.
Alrighty, what time we got? Okay, we're good here. 12:30.
Oh yeah, we're good. We're 6 minutes more to go. So
Yeah. I'm just checking to make sure I get something done.
No special care being taken.
Which I forgot.
yeah, people who never stream, they don't realize how much work there's behind.
Yeah, behind the
things.
scenes. Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
And
much.
all the stuff when you do all the stuff we do, so to speak, there's so
Yeah.
much behind the scenes that.
Yeah. Hey Keith, I just there's a lot.
Through, kind of dry brush it a little bit as opposed to like a straight paint job.
Oh look, it's not. Normally it gets jumbled on Wednesdays. This time it's not. Yay, the 45s. Whew. Hey Moose. Death Ray, what's up? All about Tensor. Yeah.
We'll see if we get to everything. I didn't realize there's a lot to Tensor.
There's
we'll
a
see.
lot of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Yep.
see. What we can probably not get to everything, but we'll try. Yeah.
Lots and lots of references. Yep, definitely. This will be, like I said, last stream of April. By the way, I broke down after Sunday night, and I put my old Stream Deck downstairs. It works so much better on the downstairs computer for some bizarre reason. I got one up here, so I got and they're a little upgraded from the last time I bought them. Pretty neat. So I got some more pre-programmed keys in, and also I got that running. No, that's not the reason he's a former member, comma. No. There's a big reason why he's a former member, so, but that's in the middle of the story. Yep.
Yeah.
Alright. I think everything is good. Let's see. I'm starting by sitting. Yep. Alright. Look at that. No mess ups or anything. So, well, good evening, everyone. It's just added me tonight as Mike is under the weather and we could not secure a guest because they're either all working or, hey, Angelo, they're all tied up. So, Banana and I can handle this one.
Hopefully we can do at least. We'll do our best. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark II Fallout Edition in stock. Wow. Yeah, I wonder how much that one is. I got this one, this puppy on sale. It was like only $120. So, and I just was able to copy over some of the stuff from my presets. So I'm good. Like for example, all my shoutouts should be here.
Oh, so you got a new one?
Yeah, I took my. So I was running it up and down the steps between the two machines. I'm just leaving the old one downstairs. The old one doesn't get touchy on the down. I don't know what it is on the downstairs computer. You know the weird things with computers here. Let me see if I click that. Okay, that worked. So there. Yeah, we're good. We're good. I got a whole bunch of different shout outs and announcements and all sorts of things here and screen changes. So we should be good here. Yeah, I like the Stream Deck. I only need the 15 button. I don't need the crazy one that's like this big. I don't need that.
And they have with the little dials and
yeah, I don't need all that stuff. Yep. I don't need all that. I got this one, and this one works real well. And right place, right time on sale. So all right, Tensor.
Yeah.
This isn't our Mike idea topic, but he won't be here. And thankfully, Alan Grohe threw up to us a ton of reference locations, and I mean, huge amount that we can all take a look at. You know, we can go through and take a look at. And what I did was I also set up for links. I made a little mini Word doc, so that if I need to,
Yep.
I can just click on these. I can just, well, it's not letting me do that here. So, I could probably just copy and paste it over here. Let me do one of them and put them up because one of them is Mike's. So let me do this real quick. Bring this up, and I'll have that up here and paste. And I should go right to Mike's GREYHAWK site. So do I have that? All right, we're good. We got lots and lots of references. So, I don't know if he goes. I'm going to keep my my discussion to like. Thanks, Elnaval. It's like 1980 because I don't know. Have I ever done an episode of Princess Robble? No, and I'm never going to until anything that comes out with Luke. Then I'll do it. I'm not going to do it anytime now, but I will do it at that point. Yeah, at that point I'll do it because that's just going to be arguing. So I don't need that. So no.
Oh, we mentioned him in every episode.
Yeah, we do.
All you guys be teasing you, and it's so awesome.
It's all good.
He's the most mentioned NPC in Legends lore and on James channel for sure, for good reason. Yeah.
Just to annoy me, that's fine. But let's.
It's fun. Yeah.
That's funny there, Moose. Yeah, definitely. So let's go here. Where do you want to start? Well, I got two references that are 1980, and I just don't know which is first. But the Rogues Gallery is like, this is perfect. This is early 80. and it has all the NPCs.
It might have been. I'm sure that Tensor was mentioned in a Dragon magazine somewhere.
Well, I
earlier.
have
That's
that
probably,
too. I have Dragon
that's
30.
probably.
I have this Darlene cover, Dragon 37,
Mm-hmm.
as well. But let's. Yep, and everyone knows that Tensor was Ernie's character.
Yeah.
So,
and
okay.
that's something that's because Tensor is so interesting both from an in-setting perspective but also from a publication perspective, because it ties into all aspects of D&D and GREYHAWK in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. So if we're going to go to the lowest, like a time when he's around, and this is all, the thing with this is so, these numbers get so messed up. You're like, "Whoa, what level is he here?" It's all a mess. But like, I think this is he's 14th. I think right here, if you take a look across, 14th level. So, and this is lawful good, and this is Ernie's character, and this is in the Rogues Gallery. There's a lot of characters. It tells you actually who the player was, which is really neat. You go here, Zeb Cooks, Talbot. There's Ernie had Certain as well. Rob Kuntz had Roblar. Yeah, they're all in here. It's really a cool thing. And I think it's available on drive-through if you don't have a hard copy of it, which I do. Mine's buried
I have
somewhere.
a hard copy sitting here too.
Yeah, it was a great book. It was a great reference book. But it says, like, just to begin here, he's always been a lover of battle, and you see that in his custom spells. So hang out a bit. Yeah, sure, of course. Thank you. It's always fun to talk about. Tensor hasn't been absconded in other things as much as Mordenkainen has, or Otto. Which one did they turn into a gnome? Bigby? That was Bigby, right? Yeah.
So, that might have been. Yeah, but Tensor is the one that is very deep into lore, been used a lot, but still somehow fallen through the cracks, thankfully, in a lot of sense. From Wizard of the Coast, barely mentioned him or didn't use him that much, thankfully. Not Mordenkainen got his claim to fame and got the limelight quite a bit, but the Tensor not so much.
Well, Mordenkainen's on the style of, well, if there's an Elminster, there's got to be someone for GREYHAWK. That's the way which is not correct, really.
Yeah, and also Tensor never escaped out into the broad D&D, broad fantasy that both Vecna and Mordenkainen have kind of become generic D&D in that sense from a publishing perspective, but Tensor never really made it into the bigger picture.
So do they just call, like in 5th edition, do they just call his spells like Tensor's floating disc is just floating disc, or it doesn't exist?
No, I think they're still Tensor. Yes,
it's still called Tensor's.
Yep, I think so. They were in later editions, and my guess is that they are still.
It depends.
Now I need to take a look at the at least the 5th edition player's handbook here.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. No, later it's just floating disc. That's what I thought, Valmoku.
Okay.
Yeah, so it says just here, Tensor's always been a lover of battle. Occasionally he seemingly forget his spells and charge immediately with his staff, depending on magical protections to preserve him. His temperament was better suited to be a fighter, even though he has 10 strength. Well, that's cool. But he's got like 18 charisma, which is interesting. He's no fool. He's no aversion to using magic, and generally will choose it first. Yeah. Sometimes inspel good magic users to go on dangerous missions to aid the cause of good. Yep, he's reported to have alliances with various non-human races, and some that are considered monsters. So, if you go in the original, like when the circles first formed, he's like
in 5th edition 2014, it's still Tensor's floating disc. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. So I don't have the 2024 book, so player's handbook, but.
Okay, well that's neat. I thought it would have been.
I can check on. We can check on D&D Beyond.
Yeah, I think that C&C has it, and it's not.
Well, they can, of course they can't have it in,
right.
You can't use those names legally.
Basic and free rules have the names removed. Okay, well that's cool. So, and it gives you all his items here, and just I wonder if there's a lot of stuff on items, but let's see. Dust is dispelling air elementals. This goes over like wow, there's a lot on just this dust of dispelling air elementals. In fact, half of this paragraph's on how it uses because it's probably not a regular magic item anywhere. Yep. Well, no, not in Paizo, Manzuri in the Gordon novels, right? They changed the name of Tensor in the Gordon novels, didn't they?
Nope.
Oh, so it's only in Paizo Hawk that they changed his
Yep.
name.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
Yep.
weird.
Yep. Tensor is
it,
Tensor in the and I think he's only in the first two books.
Okay.
And that's where
Right,
his castle Mage Point is depicted in the book. It's illustrated in Saga of Old City, or I forgot if it was the first or the second book. It might be the second book, but it's on page 212. Yeah, page 212. I have a copy of it in my Evernote too, and so it's a little illustration. So it was a great made by Clyde Caldwell. He made the illustration for it. So yeah, but it's Tensor's floating disk, Tensor's transformation are in there, and they are still they're still part of the game. So yep. Mm-hmm. I'm checking on D&D Beyond.
I'm trying to. I'm thinking to myself, what? So let me just try this circle spells. I don't know if I have it under that. No, you know what? I'm looking for my miscellaneous document, which has all circle. Let me just see if it's under circle spells. All right. That's just a couple. I should have brought it up. I have no idea what it's titled under. Let's try this magic user spell. I have a listing of all the named tensor spells outside of outside of.
I put them in my Obsidian here too.
There's like 20 of them.
Yeah, at least.
There's like
Let's see. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I don't know where that is.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I have 19 in my list. Yeah.
That's about right.
Yeah.
There's way more than that, BB. I mean, all those are from all those are from most of them are from oh my god, my brain shut off. GREYHAWK Adventures, with exception Destructive Resonance. I think it's Player's Option book. There's a lot of other ones beyond that. Was always a fan of Tensor's Deadly Strike. So Tensor's Deadly.
He has a lot of. He wanted like
spells.
exactly like a secret wizard. He was a secret fighter that he wanted to be. So, yeah.
Let me try this. Let me go to it. Let me just type it in on the old section here and just see if I can find it this way. I got so many different tensors. No, that's the same one. Damn. Okay. Tensor list. Here's my. All right. This isn't all of them. No, this isn't all of them, but these are some of them. Yeah, and the one that you probably don't know about is Tensor's Telling Below. That's one that's in the one of those black books that's high level adventuring, and I actually memorized it, and that's a 9th level spell. It's crazy. Yeah, but there's a lot. That's just some. There's a whole bunch, and we've created a bunch too for the GREYHAWK Mage class. But we come here to GREYHAWK Shape of the World. This is Dragon 37, and this is pretty cool. Look at this, and in here it just says, I wonder what this is. Skip Williams is working on my original outline for Shadowland. Where that module will be an adventure on the plane of Shadow. Perhaps that should be quasi-plane of Shadow. I don't ever remember that coming out.
No, but there were a lot of stuff
this is like 1980.
Come up.
Yeah. Yeah. And did he talk? So this is a Gary Gygax article here. It says here, Rob Kuntz joined me as co-DM of the GREYHAWK campaign. And he took over and doing new levels. As I've done about 24 GREYHAWK, then he had about 50 various levels. So there you go. But we come down here, and
It's fun. Now we can try and recreate these, create them from, yeah.
Here it is. Now, of course, it's turned to page 30 off this, which I hate. Of course, it got cut. So he's 19th here, yeah. Tensor, hidden somewhere along the southern shares of Nerdu is the fortress of Tensor. Just call it. It's likely there our identity of the master of the place kept secret. That's all it says, the fortress of Tensor there. This is 1980.
But that's the cool thing, because that was then later picked up in various products, and including the Gord novels where they was illustrated and stuff. So it's cool that the people that did the later ones, they really, they read their sources, and since a lot of this was produced by Gary himself and while Gary was at the company, so there you had a contingency or someone who was really
And there you go. And so here's his troops there. Just by those rules that you have in the original Dungeon Master's Guide. So he's got like 350 troops in his keep. And it also says some say the Ranger Otis is with him. There you go. The force is good in alignment, but disposition is unknown. So there, you have troops there, and it is unnamed keep in 1980. So I was always a fan of Tensor's Deadly Strike. Yep. Guards and Wards was a spell invented by Tensor. Right. I don't know about that, Dark Elf. If it was, it's not named by him. But
later on,
it's possible.
The place were called Mage Point, but that is, I think it's
later.
More, it's later, and I think it's referring to the village or the settlement on the shore side, and then his castle is out and in the lake a bit.
I have a couple surprises for everyone.
Oh, cool!
So, don't tell anyone this, but this is this is a sneak preview of. I think it's going in not Visions, but the other one, the Grey Grimoire. I think because it got, of course, I think it got pulled from the other one. I have the whole article here. The new Mage Point article.
Oh, wonderful!
Yep. So we'll get to that. Yes, I know. I have my ways about me, but and it's got highlights on like new, different content and stuff. Yeah, so that will be coming out shortly. But I do have that in its entirety.
See, now you covered all the bases for it.
Yes, so I got that. So hey, Greg. So when in the days leading up to between 80 and I don't know. I guess Free City GREYHAWK box set, right? I'm going to stand here for a little bit. Up and down and up and down. Okay. Free City GREYHAWK box set kind of comes out, and now, for really the first time, we get official stats, right? Finally, for all of the wizards in the Circle of 8. At this point, I think this is where it finally comes to fruition. Now I gotta see. So it's in the second one. Oh, wait a minute. So we gotta remember this. So not in the Doug Niles one. So we can't ask Doug that question. First off, hopefully Doug remembers that he wrote that book when we talked to him on June 1st for a gabbin with him. Finally, after all these years. All right. So here we go here. There's Karen Jalushin. And then Joel, which I use a lot. Kondratis Bobka. Horonos Tagana. And here it is, Mordenkainen in the Circle of 8. So finally, you got Mordenkainen. This is 90 to 89 or whatever. So there's a gap between 1980 and the late 80s where there's nothing. Right? Maybe there's a couple adventures here and there written, but there's really not that much on there. Loki Fayal, longtime D&D players, so invested in the history of the hobby. Yep. Well, they are. A lot of stuff are ancient relics when you think about it. You know?
And now it's so cool because now we have the in hindsight, we can put together a lot of stuff that when I read this when it came out, a lot of this. I had no clue. I couldn't put two and two together. Now with much more experience and much more Greyhawk knowledge under my belt, I can start seeing things and thanks to all the other awesome people in the community who pointed out, put together stuff and analyzed it and so on. It's
So you get some nice detail here on Tensor finally in the Future Greyhawk box set. Talking about, all right, so he's 20th here. So he only went up one level from the 1980 publication to this, right? So 20th level, and 20th is nothing to sneeze at, by the way. So he's an Archmage, right? 18th Archmage. So specifically says he's the strongest proponent for the cause of law and good within the Circle of Eight by far. Until Jalarzi just gets added in this box set here. He's only Otto's kind of good, but he's the only really truly good character out of the group.
Yeah, I think that's something we need to delve into once you've got the products and stuff. Meaning the character of the guy is really interesting. His role in the setting is interesting.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Hey, Gary.
Hello.
Mark and I wrote the Circle for Dragon Magazine. Eric did Tensor. I would consider him one of the foremost expert in the published Tensor. He did like the post, but I wasn't about to say, hey, you want to come on and all that. I just, he's got a lot going on. So I did not go there with Eric. I don't want to, I got a lot of stuff we're going to be doing.
Especially at short notice. So,
so it once again lives in a castle on the southern shores of Nerdiv, not named yet. So aggressive when roused, uses offensive spells in combats immediately when this is feasible, and he'll use geese spells on you. So, once protected by a very rare water dragon, which now left for Tensor's castle still has many magical guardians, friends, all over the place. So here it is. Tensor has many alliances with non-human creatures. He's aided Jan against the Deo. Look, and Furbolg even get mentioned in here. Catgood Furbolg of the Welkwood, Centaurs and the Gnarly from Morian. So there's a lot
Where are you reading? You're still in Dragon 37?
No, I'm in the Free Secret Rock box set.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. No, this is This is the first real detail we get.
Yep.
Yeah. I would have loved Gary to have Rick on, but he didn't respond. My guess is he's working on Wednesday as well. I know Alan is working. So, we kind of got stuck with Mike being out, but I got Mike's site up, and we're going to bring up what Mike has as well. Mike has a nice post as well. We're attempting to bounce around, and give our thoughts on. Look, friendships among Galabdur, Brownie, Sprites, Werebears. He's all over the place. His main concern for thwarting the plans of evil is indicated by his contacts in Kurtz. Furendi, Ernst, and Niron. So some big deals. Some of the more powerful nations. Doesn't say no Kia land here though. And High Priestess, High Patriarch of Ral and Mithric, another than Hazen, priestly ruler of the Bastion of Righteousness. So, yeah. Really? Why is that? Lapis Lazuli. That's interesting.
It's because he loves blue and it's part of his decoration, the way he decorates things.
I have one colored picture of Tensor from, I'll show you. So it says here's a big Bob Wardenkin and others feigned boredom with Tensor's continual warnings concerning the ambitions to evil. There's no doubt he's often right in his claims, and his desire to shift the balance of power toward law and good is tolerated by other Circle members, at least in part, because of the extensive intelligence network he has. I think out of all of them, he's the one that's in the weeds, right? So I guess that's why they put up with him a bit here. So Otto's his good friend, and then there's Jalarzi. He's at the Golden Phoenix or the Wizard's Hut Inn. I should say hat. That's a type. Yep. So that's a lot of detail that we get in here. So I think, am I wrong that Isle of the Ape came up before From the Ashes? I think it came up before, didn't it?
That's probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, but hang on a second.
Yeah, I think that would be the next one.
Now,
here's the only. All right, so this is from Dungeon Meister. Most of these characters are in Dungeon Meister's campaign, except there is, and this is an older Tensor. There he is, right in the back there. Look, he's got a T on his seat even. So and I believe they're at Mage Point. Oh, nice, man. Very, very cool. Yeah. Yeah, well, you can see why he couldn't dual class is he doesn't have the stats for it with strength. Crook of Rao was not used from the ashes. The Crook of Rao was used by Roger Moore to undo the damage done by From the Ashes. So in 2.5, right? And GREYHAWK, the adventure, the 2.5 book, which I should have right here. So I think the Crook of Rao existed in Isle of the Ape, and then Roger got the idea, well, I can use this, right, in this one, Adventure Begins. I think that is the thought process on Isle of the Ape. So yeah, there's a picture of Tensor all in color. But let's check that out here. Let's go to Isle of the Ape and just check this out. Now, because Tensor's the one that sends them on the mission, right? Yeah. So Isle of the Ape is before Free City of GREYHAWK box set. Thank you. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah,
see, I know it's you now, Michael.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I know it's you now, Michael.
Yeah. Isle of the Ape is from 85.
Yes, that's before the Free City of GREYHAWK box set.
Yeah, and Free City of box set is I'm checking it here.
I think it's 89, 88, 89.
Yeah, 89, 88, 89, something like that. Yeah.
I don't know if I like that picture of Tensor. It's a weird hat, but that's okay. And so this is a super high level adventure with characters that are in the 17th, 18th level, right? And this is this is Tensor bloviating a lot, talking about this, the Isle of the Ape, and the mission. And there's a picture of Tensor with some of the characters, right? And there's a symbol on there. I don't know. I don't know if that headpiece is. That's not the way I picture him. But hey, whatever.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's not my vibes either.
Yep. GREYHAWK box sets, my main, Michael, my main number one publication of all time. Doug Niles is finally coming on June 1st. So we're going to ask him some questions about one of the two books because Rick Rose and Sargent did the other one. We had Rick Rose on with Malden a couple of years ago, and Eric Monick hopped on for that. So he sends them here. Then Tensor personally accompanies you to assure the near Deve where a strange ship of bronze-colored metal awaits, to send you off into the ether and to go to the Isle of the Ape. Now, Warren Starcoat's in this adventure, right? So that is what is cool about this. And there's some other people in here that stay in. Let me go back. Are they in the? I think they're in the middle somewhere. It's really weird where all the characters. Here they are. Agatha Thrunch, Reynard Yargrove, Franz Lord Torkeep. He's around. He's around a lot of publications, lots of publications. In fact, I think in Rick Miller's Mage Point, he's in there. And we'll go back to that 17th level, and then there's three more. It's like they're split down further of the NPCs that are in this. Here you go, and you can see their Elmores. Rowena of the Silverbrow. There's Warren Starcoat, and Raquel Shirt. So I know a couple of these characters. Lady Marshall the Vespi. So pretty neat. So if you wanted, I guess they were trying to create a super high level mission for GREYHAWK, probably one of the first ones, right? It's because normally you don't get these. You get these in Forgotten Realms, right? You get the 30th level Harpers and 25th level Harpers running around, but you usually don't get high level characters in 1985 running around in your GREYHAWK, right? This is like one of the first ones. Mm-hmm. So and Tensor's the one that sends them on this. So maybe the Shadowlands turned into Isle of the Ape. Did I see someone? Yes. Unga. Wasn't it Unga? Was the name of
Unga.
Yeah. But Unga makes an appearance in a future adventure. What adventure is it? It was unprecedented for the time, yeah. So Yeah, I think there's a market for high-level adventures. They're just not many. Yes, Greg, but here's the thing. A lot of people want to play their own characters, right? Isle of the Lost. No, not Isle of the Lost. Nope. Well, we'll hold on to that tidbit. Hold on to that. So, Tensor sends them on this, and this is where you can get the Crook of Ral, and this is the connection that Roger Moore uses. Says, hey, there's something existing that I can use and undo all. And he said it multiple times.
To bring back the setting again.
Right. He said it right at GaryCon during our seminar.
Yeah.
I needed to undo a lot of the damage that was done. I wanted to make it playable again. Yeah. So, yeah. Yes, BB. Yes, you got it. It's an Expedition to the Ruins of Greyhawk. A little tidbit. That and Land Beyond the Magic Mirror. So, yeah. I just, once again, so it looks like they ran this. The participants of this original adventure included Don Arndt, Ernie, Don Kay, Rob Kuntz, Terry Kuntz, and Mike Marnard. Wow, Michael Marnard played in this. Holy jeez. It's worth noting that none of these bold adventures ever completed the quest, opting to risk other fell places other than continuing to face the perils of the island, which means they chickened out. So, wow. Well, that's lame. I guess that's real adventuring, though. All right, so that's 1985, and then you got City of Greyhawk box set, which he appears in 1989. So, Greyhawk's meandering along at this point, right? There's nothing major going on. You're playing your game, you're playing your campaign, there's stuff coming out, right? And then boom.
Well, it was they had a few year pipeline, but then Gary was ousted in, what was it, 84?
No, it's 85, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was at this time when Gary left.
85.
Then after that there were probably some projects that Gary worked on in the pipeline that they worked on Greyhawk, and then after that they pivot to Forgotten Realms for understandable reasons, because Gary. They didn't want to. They wanted to pivot to something else. So yeah.
But then boom, Carl Sargent comes along and says, "I'm not only going to kill Otto Luke, I'm going to kill Tensor." And Rary's going to do it, and Roblar's going to help him. Then all hell breaks loose, and elves start running to Len's Isle, because that's where they have to go, and all other sorts of weird stuff starts happening. Now, I like some of it, but I don't like all of it from the ashes. You got to use as much as you want. Yes, it's all good. So Tensor's dead here, and a lot of people were pissed off from that. How did everyone else here feel? Yep. You're right, Michael. You're absolutely right. They wanted a purge of all Gygaxes. But that is actually not all Gygaxes, because Melf makes his first appearance in here. Right? And from the ashes. Melf Prince Bright Flame. Hey, I'm the head of a knighthood there that no one knows about, and even Luke doesn't even know about.
But that was... probably called Sargent, who liked to read through stuff that were laying around, and that might very well, because we knew Melf was a character afterwards. So
right,
and so I'm sure that he scoured whatever he could find or they gave him, and Carl Sargent wrote that in, and yeah.
Well, Sargent really Tolkien'd up. We all know how much I hate Philidor, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever for Greyhawk, but that's okay. All right, so So where do we go from here? Your Tensor's dead. Well, you didn't have to use it, but if you wanted to, Rary the Traitor. Rary's still sitting in a bright desert in my campaign after all these years, because no one is brave enough to go out there. So he's just out there, and I don't care, and that's fine. But like, you're pissed too. Yeah, a lot of people are pissed, and I was so happy when this came out. Roger did a lot of.
Well, he was
recovery.
Kind of salvage operations were a lot what he did for the setting. So, yeah.
So we're going to get in here, we may spend a little time on here, because we're going to get a lot of Tensor information here. And a lot of bizarre things in here. a lot of funny comical things in here in Return of the Eight, and a lot of detail. And like, yes, you got, do we? Yeah, did he really have to do this? That's not a main a dretch. It's pretty funny. What's up, Rob? Hey, Witch. Yeah, keep on going. So, yep, give that away. Give away some nice stuff tonight. And then a big giveaway. Two giveaways tomorrow night. Harold Johnson coordinated this. Research assistant Eric Mona and Steve Wilson. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, where is this? You say it's on my wall of fame. It's the only second edition module on my wall of fame. Only one. Everything else is old school. Everything else is basic, like Keeping the Borderlands. And then this is the only second edition one that's on my wall of fame. And it's awesome. I put Expeditions up there, but it's a hardback. So, what happens here? Plus return to T. Garrett's not funny. I know it's funny, but it's not. I'm trying to get Eric to tie down a Wednesday night, by the way, and that's why I don't want to use him that much. So we can do our top. Everyone does our personal top 10 Greyhawk adventures of all time. Hopefully. No, he said it was. Jim said he didn't have much to do with it. I remember specifically. So give a synopsis of this. Jalarzi's in this a lot, and then she disappears. The Tourney the Mad connection is. Hey, Captain, thank you very much. The Tourney the Mad connection is a little weird.
Well, there was the age of experimentation and stuff.
Yeah,
they needed to. Yeah.
But this is where Mariel first comes from. Anna's played in my campaign. There she is, right there. And then you actually get Edwina in here. You do, man. It's awesome. I remember in Warner Star Coach in this for a bit. But you get the whole, there's a lot of named people in here from previous stuff. Here's your Rennie evil guy, Zora and Sareth. There's Edwina attacking the party, and it's just some nasty creatures in here. But the great thing about this adventure is you go a lot of places in legend here. Look, this is like great. Having this picture for Jalarzi's Tower alone is really cool. They did a good job with this. So you got to go through Jalarzi's Tower, find the gate, you're all over the place in this. And and if you do not want a spoiler, you want to turn your ears off for the next 5 minutes. But you probably do want to know. I think you go to Luna in this one, not Celine. One of the nastiest creatures of all time is hole up in her tower now because Tourney's kind of overtaking it. And like I said, Jalarzi's disappeared. There it is. Right there. That thing is, God. The Beebolith, Creeper of the Abyss. This actually killed.
Beeboliths are they are awesome monsters. I just love them. They are fantastic.
Yeah. Salen, actually, the guy who turned into the megalomaniac crazy.
There was some awesome illustrations of Beeboliths and stuff in 3rd edition era that were fantastic.
This is one of the first appearances of that I know of in Greyhawk is here, and we were like, wow, that's great. Slow Shadows in here, Sons of Caius running around. It's nasty. But going through this, you get through what you need to do here, and then you're off to Tensor's Tower, and there's a symbol done up. Pretty cool. Anna, do you know what any of these? You know what this N is? These N's and these side symbols on here.
Well, they are symbols from. Well, one I guess is just north or something, but these are. Hang on a second. They are symbols that were.
Yep.
In the no, they're not part of. I thought they were Greyhawk symbols, but they're just someone just made something fun put there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know who the artist is on this, but all right.
Well, it's part of the original symbol from the '83 box set. Yeah.
Jarkov, I don't know if they're actual. I think they're a type of demon themselves, the Beebolith, but it doesn't whatever they are nasty.
I have them as abyssal animals, basically. Yeah.
I gotta sit again. I can only stay on my feet for so long still, but I'm getting better every day. I'm only walking with a cane now, so we're good here. All right, so Mage Point, and we're going to go over in detail. We'll go over Rick's article, but here we go. So Tensor, here's his keep, and notice it's that's I did not know it was out in a causeway like that until this adventure.
Oh yeah, it's like a bridge there.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
it's sticking up. Yeah. Hopefully you have the illustration from the Gord books, because that shows.
I don't have
really
that,
cool.
unfortunately.
It's super cool.
Yeah. I don't want to bend mine around.
I'll see if I can see if I can find it here.
Yeah, if I had them, they need to come out in PDF. Make my life a whole hell of a lot easier.
I can probably find them. I think they're gonna, if I search online. I can probably.
I think they're going to come out from Troller Games in PDF. All right, so here is Simria of Celadon, who I think appears in other. It says, what is the individual's name in? That is in. I have many of the halflings come from Elmshire. Yes, I love Hampshire. Elmshire is my Palermo, Michael, the most conquered, overrun, troubled town in all of Greyhawk. For me, because it's a halfling village in the middle, by itself out there, and like who's protecting it, and so like the mongrels have run through it. It gets run through it, and one of the wars, all sorts of stuff. So, she's from Vecna Lives. Okay, that's what I thought. But there's one from Cauldron that's an Eladrin or whatever. Yeah, that comes later. Yeah, but I like Elmshire. Absolutely. All right, so there's source Vecna Lives. So she's here, and we keep on roll. We don't need to go through the details of this adventure, but if you like the items and the gear you can get out of this part of the adventure, and this is multiple levels. This adventure you're not doing in one night, by the way. Celeste, that's it. Thank you. Yep. But like one of the most imbalancing items, and Bill's character Marcus got him in this adventure, and that is there's the he's got Boots of the Running Warrior, and it turns you into a 5th edition fighter. Because you can move your full movement rate and attack in the same round. You can't do that in my game. So and it's 15-inch movement rate, so he can move 15 inches and attack in the same round. So it's pretty nasty. Yep. Simri is the actual apprentice, okay, of Tensor. Got it. All right, let's keep on rolling through this. From here, you're going to take a quick trip to off-world, right? Hall of Magic, all sorts of great things. There's Solar Iron Golem. There's all, not an easy adventure. Faraz, I forgot about him. Caddick Evil. So he's not supposed to be in there. And there's a lot of infiltrators. Draylen, another one. Like I said, not an easy mission. Tensor's great keep. And from here, you're going Head Smasher. That's funny. 13th level half-orc, berserk half-ogre. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And multiple levels below, too. It's like I said, it's big, and it's detailed. So this is the place that I know of where the most detail on mapping is done. And also the Earth Blood is here. So, and the Endless Well is at the bottom here, and that is why it is here, because of Earth Blood. Hewitt's Mystical Organ, Machine of London Mad was made with Earth Blood. So, yep. And that is why he has it in this area. What's up, Josh? Alrighty. And then Act 3. And you find out at the end in Act 3, and there's a really funny picture here, that the dude, and it's the irony of that, the dude's name's J-A-Y. The ironies of that is actually a sex change, a crazy Jalarzi.
Mm-hmm. And see, they didn't start with the weird stuff in 5th edition. They started it back in the day. Yeah.
Well, this is all Roger's doing, so we should ask him
there
about
you go.
that.
Yeah, we should ask him about. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Tensor's last clone is why Turney hasn't killed it. I don't know. Why he just hasn't killed the clone, the Dretch of it, but he's somehow left it around. And you got to fight Tourney the Mad, and then you can get Tensor's last clone back and change it back from a Dretch to. And here's Tourney, which is pretty nasty in himself. So he's going through some stuff, yeah. So with this adventure, and then anticlimactically, which is the one thing I'm not a fan of, but Igwulf shows up and says, "I'm going to get you back for some reason." Okay, all right, Igwulf. Yeah, she just shows up. And
There's
says,
some cool illustrations there.
Yeah,
too,
it's a real good.
Yeah.
That's a cool illustration. But she just threatens the party at that point, and then you destroy Tourney. But from this, 3 people are asked. Tensor says, "I've had enough of the circle." So, yeah, I agree. And this is kind of where it started. Way over. I mean, I don't know which is worse, Igwulf or Vecna. I can't. It's pretty. Igwulf is Tasha, all that stuff. Oh, Tasha's all goody two shoes. Whatever. It's overdone. It's overdone. Find some new ideas, Watsy. All right, Warner's Starcoat and Theodane Arayason, who's only 17th. He's not even an Archmage. And then he hangs out with a GREYHAWK dragon who impersonates him. Why not? And then Alamazad the Wise, which I know Alan's working on a new GREYHAWK Mage version of Alamazad which I think will be pretty cool. They joined the circle, and at the end of this, and Tensor goes, "I'm here, but I'm not. Screw yous." So, yeah, I agree. Ayuz is. See, he's not on time. Here's the thing, okay? He's not on timeout in my world. I tell you, I don't overuse him. I just don't want to go there. I don't want. When we're in the Shieldlands, it's one thing. We're in the Vespi, it's another. But when we're down in Altamira and Pomars, there's other bad things. So, yeah. Oh, really? All that material's full of inside jokes. Cool. Putnam Mask is an anagram of accused Samantha. I did not know that. Look at that. There's a user in that forum. And now Roger Moore did that, or did Eric Mona do that? Wow, Gary. Give us a little tidbit of information I did not know. Roger did it. Oh, that's cool. I got respect for that. Wow, that's how tight the AOL community was. Did you know that AOL still makes like hundreds of thousands of dollars a month for people who still have AOL accounts?
Oh, I'm sure someone was smart enough to keep the subscribe. That will be Adobe will earn money
That's
for
insane.
decades to come.
I just
because
saw that.
people
I was like,
forget
what?
about the
Your mom still uses AOL. Oh my god. Who had an AOL account that I knew? I know that Leonard did too. Tensor's boots of the running. Here's all the magic items. A lot of these are spells turned into just items. So, oh, you want to hear a quick story? So let me find it. So I really boned the party on this. So here's Tensor's Girdle of Giant Strength. I didn't want any of the fighters getting this. So you notice it doesn't. So I wrote in a little bit. I said it had to be. It's a mage, a good aligned mage only can use this. And they went. The group's like, no, it doesn't say that. I said, yeah, it does. So Tim's father, Abdul's character, he got it. In the hands of a cleric mage, what do I care, right? +3 +7 damage. I'm not giving that to a fighter. So you have AOL mail. That's funny. So yeah, it was a great. Ran a lot of emails between myself and Gary when I was picking his brain on GREYHAWK lore. So, man, it's hard to keep emails all those years. Baka, wow, that's unbelievable. I think I probably had AOL. I had AOL for like 2 to 3 years when Neverwinter Nights was on AOL. and my buddy, the other Bill, the crazy Bill, this Bill would be hacked it, because it was in what it was in 256, whatever, and you could go in and change hex edit everything. It was so easy to do back then, and we both got banned off of it because we're having plus 256 rings of protection, all sorts of other crazy stuff. Yeah, so this Bill, the no just no Bill. Yep. But that's when I had it. So all right. So from this adventure, if you're successful, and my group was, let's just take a look here. Give me 1 second here as I'm going to go to, we'll take a look at timeline, adventure log updated 2025. We're gonna type in search. We're gonna type in return and just see where it is. Return. It's not searching. I hate when that happens. Let me do it in Word doc. I'm trying to figure out how old it is. Return. Oh, I better put more than just return because I got 28 of them. All right. There it is. All right, I found it. So it looks like number 337 is when we ran it. Return of the 8. Yep. So that's where it is. It's in bold because it was a major change. Look, I ran the Sentinel and the Gauntlet after it with different groups and all. Yep. So there you go. Return of the 8, 337 out of. So that's 700 plus adventures ago. What resources are we searching? We're all over the place right now. So we got Return of the 8. We got Dragon Magazine 37, Rogues Gallery, Free Secret Rock box set, From the Ashes, Isle of the Ape so far. And then let's do this, Anna. So, yeah, that was my personal adventure log. That was all my adventures, which we're up to 1,107 completed adventures. So, Baka and Captain, welcome. I can imagine Bakabek and we just still using AOL. Yeah, that's funny. Yep, absolutely. I love this adventure. Great. You can only run it once. Can't rerun this. It's one of those that's really hard to rerun. So, and that was a while back, but it was.
Is that a foreshadowing with that little blue thing? What?
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's a foreshadowing what they did with
it's got it's his symbols right on him.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So on the cover.
Yep.
Definitely a foreshadowing there.
Hang on a second. I have the more heraldry there. I need to.
Which
I did
what
the
this
right
is?
There. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure who those are just general player characters, I believe. I'm not sure if they're anyone in particular.
I need to if anyone in chat can figure out who that is, we can steal it right away and use it for something. That is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, Iron Chef. If you don't know, when I was a kid, this is how I know. When I was a kid, I started. Look, here's the Hateful Word 20. By the way, I got goaded into another 24-hour stream. You all know that, right? On Sunday. Yeah. So here's we're up to 1,107. All right, we're back here running Karen the Skeleton King because we started it before Gary Con. We're still running it, but like my special event next Saturday is 1,108. So these are every adventure I've ever run in the GREYHAWK campaign, going all the way back to 1980, way Battle of Outpost number 1. Yep, all the way back there. I ran some adventures before I started logging, so it's more than that. But just so you, get it. That was one of the archdevils of the Bay Tour, wasn't it? What's the question on that? Yeah, Sunday they goaded me into last Sunday night. So if you weren't on, you don't know. But yeah, so all right. That's Tuerny the Merciless. He's the main. So Tuerny gets turned into a Type 4 demon.
Yep.
And that's the main kind of a reach on the what Roger needed an antithesis, a main antithesis who's going to be nasty. Yep, I'm going to do it. We'll go over those details a little bit as we get. It's going to probably be in July. So from here, Tensor's back whenever you run this in your game, but he's off, right? He's off. He makes an appearance a little bit. I don't know if I brought that up here. So he's around in the Cauldron. He's mentioned in Age of Worms, right? A little bit. He's mentioned.
Oh yeah, but on the Mansourian is the
right.
Age of Worms. They use that name for him. So
and let's go. Let's go to here to talk about that.
Yep.
Here we go. So
hang on a second. Do you have the link for that one?
This is GREYHAWK, or this is Mike's page.
Oh yeah. I just
from Wednesday, August 3rd, 2022. It wasn't that long ago. All about Mansourian the Archmage. Yep. There was one other character name they couldn't use besides Tensor, and I forget who it was. Anyone remember? There was one other.
Yeah, I have the link to the page. There we go. Yeah.
Cool. Yep. Thank you. So this is on Mike's page here. To coincide with Legends of Lore discussion of Tensor Mordenkainen. I don't remember. Maybe we did. 3+ years ago. I'm still flabbergasted that WotC made Eric Mona and company genericize much of GREYHAWK's proper names. So, yeah, mainly. So, anyway, this post is looking at some of the material written about Mansourian, mainly from Spire Long Shadows by Jesse Decker in Dungeon 130. I have that one. Let me just see what that. I think. I want to make sure. All right, so that is Age of Worms. All right, there you go. So this is when he shows up in the Age of Worms adventure path here. All right, in Dungeon 130. All right. So let's see what Mike has to say about this. Bucknerd, yeah, but why Bucknerd? That's just strange. So, Mike's theories. Mansourian is an interesting wizard name. It definitely has more of a GREYHAWK feel than that Greenwood realm. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I heard of the name Tensor. Then Mansourian would be suitable. Also knows the name Mans is found Living Dark Journal 1 for Count Ignaz Mans, who's a 16th level fighter.
Eric Mona is probably the person behind it, and since he's such a GREYHAWK nerd, I can totally understand.
Right.
Why he can come up with something cool like Mansourian. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to have a deeper meaning of some sort that we should ask Eric.
We have to ask Eric about. Yep.
Yeah. So in this timeline to get a bit more experience. So, and here's about Village of Mage Point. And then after all, one of his clones was destroyed by Treacher's ally several years ago. It doesn't go into detail. We just went over that. That was Rari. The Archmage's return to Mage Point is ushered in time prosperity for the village. And we're going to show that. We're going to show that Mage Point article shortly. Hey, Lion, good to see you. OSR and I like tend to make down humans more. Just playing. Yeah, I'm not
House Mansourian of facts. That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's a possibility. Yeah.
Yep. I don't like. I'm not a Feywild guy. I know Anna is Lion, but I'm not. I don't want to delve too far into that. It's too, I don't know, Tolkien for me. But my guy,
Feywild?
Yeah, too much.
I don't think Tolkien even have the Feywild.
Well, it doesn't feel GREYHAWK to me. It feels like, once again, another plane. It's ultra planar, and I think elves are inherent GREYHAWK. That's a discussion for another time.
But I totally agree that Carl Sargent made the elves in GREYHAWK way too Tolkien-esque.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, but the elves that are more Feyish I think, are cool in that sense that they are less Tolkien elves and a little bit. Yeah, but on the other hand, I think elves is one of the things that you should tweak the elves to the way you like them, so to speak.
Exactly.
Yeah,
100%.
Yep.
So,
yeah, the Eldarin is one of these things that came with 4th edition, long after Greyhawk.
Yeah.
I think. Yep.
So, and Mike got some nice detail here. What was Manzurian doing in the plane Arcadia following the return of his death? Was he getting his memory abilities restored? So the only Greyhawk data I know who resides in Arcadia is St. Cuthbert. Two of them. So Mike brings up some good questions here, and also says that here Cimria and Agatha Thrunch, both from Isle of the Ape, one from Vecna Lives, one from Isle of the Ape, are still here at this time, and he knows about Age of Worms and Kaios. So this is a lot of good. This is a lot of information that Mike brings up, and it's a good summation of everything that happens from that Age of Worms era in this one article, and this is a good place to get it. Here we go with Vecna and Eric. Let's be honest. Eric is really dislikes Vecna Lives so much so that he ran twice. Redid the fight where the Circle of Eight fights. You know what's his name? How Mother are the Cruel, and they kill him in 2 rounds. Well, I said it's 8-on-1, Eric. Of course. I mean, what do you want? It's it's 8 archmages against 1, even if it's a super powerful one. But so yeah. Tisk tisk. This is the part of the adventure where Manzurian starts dumping lore into players. Yep. So the Age of Worms is like a really, really cool long-term melding a lot of religions together, right? That triumvirate of religions. Yeah, BB. So do the other mages. They all have time stop. They're archmages. They all have time stop. That's the thing. Everyone can time stop each other. It's just like, yeah, it's crazy. That's a spell. That's a spell I would have negated each other because they could all time stop each other. So, and Mike goes on here and talks about there's a supplemental articles how to port Tensor Manzurian to other game worlds. So he's talking about all these. So Manzurian meets the PCs again before the climatic end of the adventure in Dungeon 135, Dawn of a New Age by Theodore Lieti. No spoilers, but old Manzurian counsels and finds a way to help the PCs battle Kaios without getting directly involved. So once again, he's on the good, even though it's different name, he's on the edge of good, and he's working to help thwart the Age of Worms with Kaios, which is a good thing, whereas all the other ones are by the wayside, standing around. There could have been a more creative way to set up the adventure. We discussed some ideas. Okay. I agree there, Gary, on Vecna Lives. It's not one of my favorites. So, yep. Lots of things you can do. But I think Eric's going to run it again at Page, if I recall. He's going to run it at Page in our section. So, all right. So look this up if you want some more details. You want a synopsis. It's good, very nicely done by Mike. All righty. All right. Anything you want to discuss, Anna, before we go over to Mage Point? Here,
I was for good say that, and this like my little personal thinking of Tensor, and I really like the fact that he's one of these really good guys, so to speak. He's a lawful good. He's a staunch champion of good. He's a friend of Canon Hasten of Illuna, and stuff. Meaning when you have Mordenkainen, who seems to be, I wouldn't call morally dubious, but exactly aloof or morally non-interested, so to speak. He doesn't seem to. He's more like in political terms, he's that what we call the realpolitik, like Kissinger or something. He looks at the effect and the cause and doesn't think too much about the morals about things. That wouldn't make him necessarily evil or anything like that. By nature, it's more like maybe by outcome. Tensor is more like, is this morally right? Should we do this or whatever? And one that ponders and stuff in a lot of sense that way. So I really like Tensor. He stands out in the gray of Greyhawk as a shining beacon, so to speak, and I love that part of Tensor. That makes him he you can use him for a lot of cool stuff, like a quest giver. You can use him as someone go to. He can be there to save the party. Things go to hell, and he's one of these useful. If you have a good party with a good story, he can be their patron, their protector, their quest giver, or their savior in that sense. So he has a lot of interesting stuff that way. He's from the Wild Coast, and that also brings in the story. You can kind of spin back to that. What if he is interested on liberating the Wild Coast campaign in the future or something like that? He can sponsor it or something. There's a lot of interesting, cool possibilities with him, and I see him very much as one of these that has feelings and empathy more than Mordenkainen and the other ones, so to speak.
Well, I mean, that was Ernie's personality too,
but on the other hand, that's the other interesting thing. Meaning, Ernie is one of these that is he's been doing all sorts of cool stuff, weird stuff, and so on and so forth. So in that sense, when I've talked to Ernie a couple of times, thankfully I got a chance, and to me, in some ways, if he had played Mordenkainen, I would have totally gotten it, so to speak, because he was really like a bigger in life character when you talk to him, especially when he was healthier, and so all over the place in that sense. But on the other hand, a lot of people play characters who are not like they are in real life.
Sure.
Which might have been, and also meaning, come on, he invented Tensor and played him like 50 years ago, so that's half a lifetime away. So in that sense, it's different. So my Tensor is not. I don't have the characteristic of Ernie as a person
that's why everyone said, well, why did he go like he's not as good as he was before? The author's changed. That's exactly what it is.
Exactly. Yeah. And also you play a lot of times. You play what you inspired or aspire to be in real life, not what you are in real life, and vice versa. So yeah,
definitely.
Or things that you don't want to be in real life, you play that, or vice versa. I mean, you can play some very aggressive gung ho people that you don't want to be in real life, but it's fun to portray it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of and Lion just brought up a question. Greyhawk gets extremely convoluted. Where do I go? What is lore? What is canon? Especially when you get to Living Greyhawk.
Yeah.
So much so that my answer to that is all of it or none of it. It's your choice.
Exactly. You can you can filter it according to some of the most obvious ones. You can go with old Gary stuff. You can go with only the things that were published by TSR. You can say you can include. You can go pre-war. You can go post-war. You can include Living Greyhawk. You can cherry pick Living Greyhawk. You can completely ignore Living Greyhawk if you want to. And those are only the kind of obvious choices you can make, or you can cherry pick everything, because Greyhawk has such a diverse publication history or publishing history spanning half a century. So there's obvious pitfalls and weird stuff, that contradictions and resets and reboots and things that have been retconned early on or later and stuff. So my sense is, if you want to, meaning make your own version of it. I think that's been the point with Greyhawk all along, and Wizard of the Coast kind of made that the new thing in the new Dungeon Master's Guide. Make Greyhawk, use it as a base for your own creations and your own homebrew, which I think is a great approach.
So, question, Iron, what do you think of Greyhawk's Tensor's character? Exactly, Gary. It's a DM's playground. I mean, I should know. I mean, 1980. I deviated before anything was out, right? So I'll say it this way: Tensor is a main character in my campaign. Now, you may not see him running around when I'm doing streams. You don't see Tensor shows up, right? He did show up, though, during a fundraiser event, but Tensor showed up and sent someone on a mission. I believe it was the Falcon series, I think it was the second fundraiser event. Tensor's like, guys, got to take care of her. This Falcon's back, because basically I wanted to redo those terrible three. I thought those adventures weren't that good, and so we did the entire fundraiser was on the Falcons. Her, that dual class, especially Priest of Ayu spellcaster. That was a serpent woman. All that. And that's when Tensor appeared. But I don't overdo the major PCs showing up in my campaign all the time. You're going to get the minor ones that are mine more. But Tensor was rescued by an adventuring party in my campaign, the Iron Brigade. So he has a relationship with all these good characters. Most of them there's a lot of lawful goods in that party. So he's going to go to them and send them on missions and send them on, as they're the allies. They're the ones, that he's going to look to, because they got him back from being a dretch frickin' last. It's part of the game, and that's how your games go. And there's no reason you can't do that as a DM yourself. So, and it's a very important part. I mean, that's why I have that bolded in my adventure log. It's such an important adventure in my game, because just like a lot of you, I was pissed when finger snapped, Tensor's dead. I didn't care that much about, right? But I still was pissed about that too. But Tensor, my God. So, it's important. It's an important part, and that's where you're going to take your game, and then from there you're going to run with it. And that's what I said. I think Tensor's he had enough of the circle after. Absolutely, Gary. He had enough of the circle when no one tried to help him get him back, and his adventuring group did. And he's like, I don't need Jalarzi's there, and she's a good alignment too. So let her be the a good thorn in the circle, and I don't care about the the circle. I can do my own thing now, and I think I'm glad he's not in the circle. I really am. So why don't you like Jalarzi, Gary? I really like Jalarzi. I don't like that she's doesn't have as many spells, and we're working on that. We're working on a lot of Jalarzi spells, by the way.
Well, they were introduced later and didn't get that kind of and also
That's
that
right.
was an age when there was more focus on story and fluff and less on crunch and mechanics. Early on, meaning read Rogue's Gallery and the early books, it was much more mechanics and much less story. And then the game evolved, and when it came into an age of late 80s, early 90s, that was the age when they started moving into more fluff and less crunch,
right,
so to speak. So or at least fluff got more of products and more room in the product. Details were way more fleshed out than they were in the early days.
Right.
So yeah.
But there's an exception, and that is this book here, right? And we get to the Jim Ward book, which is this is 88. This is a year right before Free City Rock box set. And you go and you just come down here, and like I said, this book is why we have GREYHAWK mages to this day. This was the starting point. All these spells from all the circle.
Oh, you mean GREYHAWK Adventures?
Yes, yeah. You know what? I'm sorry, I don't have that screen up. I apologize.
No worries. Yep.
Yeah. So
this was a great book, not for regular D&D, but for GREYHAWK fans. You had so much to go, and I guess that was the book it was for us. But it was kind of a mishmash of cool GREYHAWK stuff, so to speak. So in a general terms, probably not that great of a book for D&D in general terms, but for us GREYHAWK fans, it was a little extra chapter of the Bible coming out. It was like an extra testament that came out or a bunch of mashed up stories and mechanics and stuff. But it's also very lean on mechanics. The spells and stuff are few, but not that much else. But this is a book about the setting and stories and whatnot. But thankfully we got a bunch of cool spells in there. So yeah.
So is that true, Gary? I didn't know that Jim Ward was the creator of the Circle, and that Gary just had the Citadel of 8.
Oh,
I did not
okay.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that evolved into yeah.
yeah. So this was the back then. This was the linchpin book because nothing had come out. There was nothing. I mean, there was
Well, for
adventures, but
years, and then yeah.
and they were like, "Oh my God, these spells are awesome."
Yeah.
So like
And
this,
we have to remember that there were years between books back then. Meaning,
yeah.
Unearthed Arcana, we waited for years, and then this one came
Well,
out. So
Temple
yeah,
of Elemental Evil, we waited for years.
exactly. There were So those were
Yeah,
tough times. Yeah.
yeah. So this Tensor Giant Strength spell is not very good. Alan corrected that and fixed that. So Gary created the concept of the circle, but words supplied to members through course he was guessing from an informed position. So, okay. But notice that there's no Jalarzi in here. So my guess is this came out the year before, and they added Jalarzi because they realized they only had 7. That's my guess. When Free Cigar box set came out.
Roger E. Moore that added Jalarzi?
Now Jalarzi comes out with a Sergeant and Rick Rose.
Oh, gotcha.
Right? Yeah, in that book.
Yeah. So it was earlier. Yeah.
Emery Meadows ended the Citadel. Well, Emery Meadows was awesome because I kicked butt in it at Page with that was such a great war game. Joe Block has his Battle of Emery Meadows, and we kicked the crap out of the bad guys in that fight. Did you see what TLD discovered concerning the multiple circles from Gary's material forecasting Zagig? No, I did not, because Lando, I can't be everywhere, man. So yeah, certain dies. Well, BB, he didn't die in our battle either. We didn't lose anyone, so he survived. But I can see certain dying there. Yeah. So very cool. And this, so I lost my train of thought now. I hate when that happens.
Well, that happens to all of us.
Great book.
Yep.
Let me close out some of these. I do not want to crash the stream here. Get rid of all the ape, I think. All right, let me just talk about this Earth Journal real quick. Yeah, I think he does die. And all right, hold on. I guess it's part of the story here. So give me 1 second here. Let me go here. Let me go here. Let me go to this. And let me go to here. They're certain. Look, Thrommel's there. All right, so these are leaders that we had. We had Wilfred, Certain, and Thrommel.
That's when you played with Joe Block.
Yes, Joe Block moderated it. Yes, and
it used his rules. Yep.
Here's my son was playing on our side too. There's Andy. Andy's on the other side. My son's moving miniatures.
Those little 15 millimeter miniatures look fantastic. They look so cool with the right.
There's Robert was there. Yes, we kicked the crap out of them.
Yeah.
So yes, it was a fun.
Me and Troy, we stood there for an hour or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back and forth and looked at it, and it was fantastic looking. It seemed awesome fun. So yeah.
Well, in this one it didn't matter because I think he had a clerical. He was a cleric in that one. Remember, Certain had like 7 intelligence. No, Joe kicked the crap out of the evil group. See all the baddies over here. Let me see if I got a better fight picture here. Here we go. All right, yeah. So there's our forces are holding the bridge to the and then on the other side, Gary. It was fun. Let me see if I got one on the far side where we held and we just overran them. Now, as you can see it in the distance here, we charged them, and all of their gnolls broke. And if gnolls run into other gnolls, they immediately kill each other and they start fighting each other. It was great. So, yeah, it was a great fight there. Rick, if you're not at work, are you at work? If you're not, you can come on, man, because we're about to talk about Mage Point.
Yeah.
You tell me, Rick, if you're at home. All right. Well, if you don't want to come on, that's fine. But I've got your article right here, and we're going to do that. So in a second. no biggie. But Art Journal 20 is where stuff gets laid out first. And let's go here to here under Sam's the early history of Velvet Diver. No, that's not it. Archaeology of magical nodes and structures in the Flanders. That's where this kind of gets laid out first. So, yep. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put it. I'm going to put it here. Give me 10 seconds, everyone here. Your choice, man. Your choice. If not, we're just gonna we'll go over it and we'll have some fun with this discussion here.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna throw it into. I'm throwing it into your chat and the Zoom link, and you're more than welcome to hop in if you so choose. All right, cool. Yep, we will because we're going to be we're on for 45 more minutes. So let me go to this. Let me go to page 16 here. So this is where a lot of the theory starts. All right. Why do wizards build towers? This is a good article. This is a good article. Yes. Krogosh Mac. I got to stand again. Hip bothering me. Do not do that. What adventure paths should you do? Well, first of all, those are too high level. So you want to. What I would do is I do T1 through 4. And I'd fill in adventures between T1, the null part, and T4. About 2 adventures per. Oh, thanks, Patrick.
Yeah,
that's what I would do. I would do T1, stay around there to do sub adventures all, make Halma the base. Eventually, then you go to the moat house. You go to the moat house right away. Then you go to the null, and then you move your way up. And then once you're there, you're probably going to be 7th level when you're done temple, and then go and ask from. That's about a year or 2 of play, and from that point, move on to something else from there. But that's what I would do. I'd always start with T1 to 4. Yep, that's just my opinion. Hopefully we can discuss that in our top adventures of all time. All right, so look, sites such as Made Point act as an amplifier to spells. So this is a really good, please look at this. This is Earth Journal 20. Really got a lot of neat ideas for setting up your own towers. I know at the end there's a list of what ifs. There's Rary's spell in here that's new. Well, new if you don't know about it. Here's other possible sites, right, that you could do. And here's Mage Point and the Fortress of Unknown Depths is right here. So, yep. A really good one. Like I said, Earth Journal 20. And thanks, Patrick, for doing that as we get finishing up the month. Okay. All right. So, Ed Shokanth is in here. Mark Castle. There's a whole bunch of them. So, Loratans, Tovag Baragu, right? All different sorts of places. From here, all right. So, hopefully we'll get, and Patrick, hopefully you're doing well. No, don't, listen, I think Gary will agree with me, I think Sam will agree with me, and I think Anna will agree with me. Don't rush the experience.
Exactly.
GREYHAWK. Yep. Enjoy it.
Yep.
Don't compress.
And don't spread yourself too thin. Go, and go slowly and steady, and find your home and furnish it out, and then explore as needed, so to speak, or as
find the places you love. That's it. That's it. I found places. I don't not only Altamira, but I venture in GREYHAWK City. I venture in Harby. I venture in Vespi. I venture in Shieldlands. I venture, other places. Take your time. Yep. All right. Here's Mage Point. I don't think there's any. Right. There's no. No artwork in this. Okay. Good. All right. And if Rick comes on, we need to bounce back. Yeah, it does. It does. But my suggestion is start in Hamlet. Like you said, I started 4 years before we started at the Battle of Emerald Meadows as kids and started 569. So, rolling temperate hills of flowing verdant grass and broad trees adjoin the southern extents of the lakeside village of Mage Point. There you go. So, the deep blue choppy waters of the Lake of Unknown Depths lie north of the village. 20-foot right stone causeway runs from the village shoreline all the way out to the citadel. Very nicely done. Hey, Patrick, thank you so very much for the support. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Really, really appreciate it. It appears to be a small, peaceable, bucolic village at first glance, however, past its agrarian. And here comes Mike Disney. Wow, Mike,
Awesome.
good to see you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mike. We're talking about Tensor. We're on a Madge Point article coming out by Rick Dewitt-Carthon Miller shortly. Good to see you all. So note we do have a great giveaway. Please feel free to stick around and sign up for it. We're only about 40 minutes till end. Exclamation point drawing. Thank you all, Art of Mike Disney and crew. We're here talking Greyhawk and D&D a lot. We got an adventure we're continuing tomorrow night, which I'll go over. Oh, by the way, I'll do it now. We got a whole bunch of people on. Let me go back to the main screen. If you want a really unique giveaway, it's tomorrow night during my stream of, and we'll talk about that at the end, but Karen of the Skeleton King by Ron Kuntz, right? These are hard to get a hold of. Black Blade Publishing is Alan Growe's company, right? So he's given away a hard copy Karen of the Skeleton King and a hard copy sequel, which is Tower of Blood. So 2 giveaways tomorrow night's Thursday night stream. Rare ones, okay? Hard to get a hold of. That's tomorrow night's. But tonight we got some classic D&D reprints as well. All right. A vision of an evil pumpkin beholder. Well, that is Mike's Overgourd, right? Yeah, nice giveaway. So, and if you know how to research into I do have an Overgourd emote. There you go. All right. Back to Mage Point. And if Rick hops on. All right. Mage Point has flourished for years following the Greyhawk Wars. That's good to know. Mm-hmm. I love how it says, while other pathways link up with Diamond Lake. One of my favorite. That's where the Tickling Feather started, Anna. Got to remember that. That's where it started.
Yeah. And they still have a franchise there, I hope.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, and it's on the map too. Because I've done some adventuring there recently, and yes, the original Tickling Feather is there. Yep, absolutely. So Mage Point supports a burgeoning market of numerous goods that appeal to nearly any patron. It sounds like Rick has really pumped this place up over what it has, into something it's become bigger than, Let's see what he has on population. 530. Okay. Human half of is a whole mix. I love how he puts Manzorian as Tensor's last name in this. That's pretty funny. It's a village. Okay.
Well, Tensor Manzorian, yeah, his family Manzorian. That makes sense. Yeah, that could be that could work.
And he has Celeste, Simria, and Agath all here and that's where we put them all together. So nice. Remember this. This is coming out in the Grimoire, right, Gary? Not Visions. I just want to make sure we're correct on that. So, yeah, next one. Cool. All right, so Tensor's Fortress of Unknown Depths sits atop a mysterious... Yeah, Prof. Here he comes. Look at that. All right, so we're going to have Rick for the last half hour.
Wow.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Thanks, man.
Very, very quick shower.
Very quick. Hey, awesome. We got you on for the last half hour as we get to Mage Point.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for coming here.
This is a sneak preview of the article coming out. Gary was kind enough to give me this, so I have it, and I'm assuming did you have fun doing this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So, is blue
blue
a different
read aloud text?
Okay, that's read aloud, and is this added yellow added new or?
That is editorial notes. That is basically where I leave my at work areas.
Okay. All right. Got it. So, very cool. So, give us your thoughts, a general thought on this, and then we'll go into some detail on things you'd love to highlight. Like, has this, over the years since the wars, has this place evolved? Has it stayed the same? What's your
I wrote it as post Age of Worms.
Got it. Okay.
So
601.
I have actually in there one of the major NPCs from Age of Worms.
Yep.
Is actually Aliston has a residence in Mage Point.
Oh, okay.
So it's way down there.
I think I saw it at the very end.
Yeah, it's way down in the list, but I went into crazy detail on making that happen. I think that still is using like some of the 3rd edition stuff before
W8, here it is. Much like his previous resident in Diamond Lake, Aliston's. There you go. All right, cool. Yep. I think doesn't he the one that hires you for the one with all the mutated lizard men right out north of the Mist Marsh, right?
He's one of them that is part of that, but he also starts the adventure, one of the adventure starters for Whispering Cairn.
In Diamond Lake. Yep. Cool. Yep. Awesome. Very cool. And you got the 3 main characters, one from Cauldron and 2 from that are appear in other publications.
Yes.
Yes. So you got Celeste, Simri, and Agath here as well. So.
Yep. Agath is actually one of my favorite clerics.
Okay.
I like him just because he seems bland,
right.
But up front, that's what he wants. There are layers upon layers to that guy. And that's why I love that character as a cleric, because he's not just hi, I'm good, I shall smite evil. There's many layers to him, and he's my version has him a little bit leaning more towards neutral, but the good is definitely there.
Okay. Excellent. So, are you using this in a game setting for you, or do you like, I got to do this, I got to take this on and really write this up? Because I know from Earth Journal 20, you're talking about all the different. You did Rary's Tower, and you're deciding to do more locations.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I started picking out locations ahead of time and went with that.
All right. Very cool. So, we're assuming the Age of Worms, they're successful. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Always assume success. So
assume success, because if they failed, well, they'll find something interesting, whether using the time glass of the mage or something clever to okay, we need a redo.
Okay. Tell us about this, the Rod of 7 Parts in Tensor.
Tensor, actually, in Age of Worms, you acquire 1 piece of the Rod of 7 Parts. Tensor himself helps you find another one. So you get to actually use 2 different pieces of the Rod of 7 Parts in the Age of Worms. So that is part of the hooks right there into the actual area, is that, hey, Tensor's got this.
Okay.
Another fun little thing is that you have the choice in Age of Worms to leave the hand of Vecna with Tensor. And that happened in my campaign. My players are like, somebody's going to chop their hand off.
Right.
And it's going to get ugly. So that actually happened in my campaign. Maybe not in everyone else's, but definitely in mine.
Didn't like Zeech try and weasel his way in at the end of the Age of Worms too? Was that? Am I remembering that correctly?
Close to, like right around the tail end of it, Zeech tries to come up and go, "Oh, you did such a great job. Here's a pat on the back."
Right. Okay.
He actually he's lower level than you at that time in Age of Worms when you go to deal with him. And the funny part is my daughter's fighter character, who has a artifact that has yet to be seen by anyone, but has been in my game for years.
Oh, cool.
It is the Shield of Daern. Think of it like Captain America's shield,
like Daern's fortress, but only but in shield form, like the paladin.
It was Daern's early shield that she was actually using.
Oh, that's awesome!
And eventually lost by the Axewood. It was lost by the Axewood, and my daughter's character picked it up, and just it didn't detect as magical or anything at first. And I developed it that the shield developed as her character developed.
That's awesome. So it's getting a scalable item.
Yes, I love scalable items.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
Definitely. Very cool. I'm so glad you came on. We're getting some tidbits here that we have never gotten. I would just gone through all this, and so it looks like you got a lot of other named characters here. Drace Krennet.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Drace actually goes back even to Return of the Eight.
Yep.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah, he's inside. I think he's one that gets killed in by my group way back, but that was 25, 30 years ago, right when that adventure came out. So, okay. So, Tensor and recent events. So, and we talk about getting from Return of the Eight there. Let's see here. Tensor's way of appearing in public. You have that down. He's kind of being reclusive, huh? A little bit.
It was my interpretation that after multiple deaths, he kind of did I need to step back and let other people take the risks again.
Well, I was thinking that he had enough of the Circle of Eight and their machinations. He's like, I don't need this anymore, and that's why when he got back from Return of the Eight,
that's probably another major part of it as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another major part. And the thing is, both of the times he died, if you remember correctly, both of the times he died, he was basically at the behest of someone else.
Got it.
You have Vecna lives, and then you have later on.
So I noticed in here your thoughts on not Vecna on Tensor. Wanting, is it revenge, or he just wants the evil Rary gone? What are your thoughts? Or is it a mix of both?
I don't think it's Tensor as a wanting revenge type of character.
Okay.
My interpretation of him has always been, okay, you've proven to me that you're a threat. Now I need to react as you as a threat.
Okay.
So he's very. It's not the holier than thou lawful good. It is a intelligent lawful good, which you don't run into very often.
It's hard to play.
It can be hard to play because too many people fall into that cliche of, I must be holier than thou.
Right.
No, he looks at it analytically, and he looks at it in a situation of, okay, I clearly have made a mistake. You are definitely a threat. You are on my radar, and you don't want that.
Okay. And I see you have a lot of the Crook of Ral, Isle of the Ape characters here too.
Yes. I try to incorporate every little factor I could.
And I love that you have Kara Stein alive here too, and she's not wiped out. Like she gets wiped out multiple times in Living Greyhawk, right?
Yeah.
I love because Kara Stein's one of my favorites here. You say Tensor's lent support to Paladin Kara Stein in efforts to check the ambitions of Rary. Beautiful.
Yep.
Tensor also has made contacts with the Gynarchy of Hybrid. That makes total sense because there's a lot of Mayheen worshippers now, which would tie in pretty well. Many of whom mistrust the intentions of so-called Emperor of the Bright Lands. Beautiful. Then you have Celeste here from Cauldron. Yep.
Also, Age of Worms, she was in that too.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, she was in Age of Worms as well. She was actually one of the characters who gets you involved in the arena fights in the city of Greyhawk.
Oh yeah, that's right. And what's his name? The guy who flees down into Castle Greyhawk, the evil fighter.
Starts with an L. I just can't think of it right now.
Yeah, because he's on the cover.
Long day.
yeah, because he was in expeditions. He's wandering about down there expeditions.
Yeah, that is a result that Eric put in there after Age of Worms.
Cool.
He because they wrote that in Age of Worms that he goes to escape to go there.
Right, because he actually turns on everyone and yeah. That's a really good adventure if you run it through and at the very end all the monsters go crazy and all. I kind of did a little play on that in Altamira that someone tried doing the same thing but on a smaller scale. So Lore Master Eligos.
Eligos is also from Age of Worms.
He's from Age of Worms, okay.
Yep. He was in the city of Greyhawk. He had his own residence in the city of Greyhawk.
Okay. So you got a lot of them out here. They may not all be here at the same time, but they're out. They're possible personalities you're going to see out here, which is nice.
Correct.
I'm going to give you some credit here, Anna.
Uh-oh.
I'm just saying, no, not only, I'm just saying, Adam, I'm giving him credit. He hasn't slaughtered all the characters and go, oh, this one's dead, this one's dead.
Exactly. That's the way to do it. You inspired and you cherry picked and you added and you used it to make more. You didn't just, But on the other hand, we can create more freely and we have also more in hindsight, meaning now we have 10 more years, 15 more years of digesting all the cool stuff. So, and no publisher that wields his axe over us to tell us you need to do this for whatever.
That's true.
Yeah, corporate reason or whatever. Meaning, Rick, you can do it the way you want it, and yeah.
It's a tie-in that people like to see, and that's why I think Eric and crew, when they did Expeditions, tied it all in with all sorts of slight references to characters that appeared in Age of Worms or appeared somewhere else, and he linked them all up. And I thought that's the same thing Rick's doing here, which is great. So.
That's one thing I would definitely say that Eric and I do as writers. We link everything together. Like everything is interrelated, just like real life. It's like, think of it like a small town. Everybody knows everybody in one way or another.
No, especially if you in a fantasy like medieval-esque world where you don't go far and you don't have it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's great. I think that's the way to do it, and I really appreciate you doing that. All right, so common visitors. Give some ideas. So you're using this almost as an adventure hub. It looks like. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Okay. That was the entire thing. Is the way that I wrote it up was that it was supposed to be very much like Diamond Lake.
Yeah.
Because they never actually wrote a second hub. They just said you're in Mage Point. They never wrote a backdrop for it. So I'm running it in my game. My players are going to have tons of questions. I'm writing a backdrop.
Great.
And part of a contention issue that I had with it going to be published is that Mage Point was supposed to springboard into me working with Ernie Gygax to get Tenser's Castle officially out.
Right.
In one way or another. And that opportunity was lost. I'm not going to name names, but I'm pretty sure we know why that kind of fell apart.
Right. Understood. It's a shame, but I think once this comes out in publication, people are going to really appreciate it because it's very well detailed. I'm assuming there's a map associated with it as well. That you have for it, and just it's really it's done well. You got legal. You got a lot of named people here. You got a council.
I took a lot of that directly out of. This was that's still in my notes right there. That was directly out of City of GREYHAWK.
Yep.
Because they use the same legal laws and such on that because they're in that area. And Tenser having so many connections from there, he's like, I like this one. I like this one. I like this one. I don't like that.
Yeah. It's still in the domain of GREYHAWK. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So he still falls under the rules and regulations of the domain of GREYHAWK.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, it even mentions that if there are any criminals in Mage Point, that they don't have the facilities to keep them. They send them to the City of GREYHAWK.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So do they pay all taxes to GREYHAWK?
I'm sure he pays something. Tribute.
I'm sure that he pays them in one way or another.
Exactly. Okay. He might not pay in money. He might pay in services or exactly sending them some information or just be a resource just in case. Meaning, it's like having a superstar living there. It boosts the city. The city can say, well, don't mess with us. Tenser lives over there. So. Yeah,
and the nice part is also at the same time is Tenser is a major creator of magic items.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
a lot of them are.
He brings in business, and he can say, well, they need to be somewhere. They're coming, and whatever. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
My players were in love with that Return of the Eight. All like the Tenser's Boots of the Running Warrior. I'm never giving another one of them out ever. It's just so imbalanced. It's so imbalancing.
Yeah,
funny story about that.
What's that? You have a story about Tenser's Boots of the Running Warrior too?
Story about that. All of Tenser's items, all of them. I have that magic item compendium I've been working on.
Yes.
They're all converted to the new
5th
rules
edition
for D&D, so I can get new players to see all the old magic items.
That's perfect.
It's going to be a great resource for anybody, even if you do old editions, because there are items in there that were never statted out.
Right.
And I've statted them out, and I put them up, and you can easily take from 5th or 5.5 or whatever you want to call it, and drop them back to first edition and be like, okay, I've got a template now. I can work with this.
Excellent.
So,
oh, that's fantastic. Great to hear on that. I love how you took a lot, you added more, but this is from number 37, Dragon, still.
Yep.
Yep. But you added a little bit more to it. Yeah. So, first are lake monsters. Yeah. All right. So we got town districts. So this is most detailed, right? This is the most detailed of anywhere.
Yeah. When you get into the Arcane Promenade, it is one of the major areas right there. And you don't have all that. That's still an early version right there. You've got, there's a lot more detail that's been added since then.
So how big is Mage Point in population in your version of it?
I would have to double check the number, but the number should be at the top of the article. I believe I do have it at the top. There's usually a stat block at the top of the article. If you were to scroll it back up. Right there.
Where's that?
Right there. Population, I can barely read it.
530.
Yeah, 530 souls.
Okay, so it's like a small town or large village.
But it says another 1,500 residents live in the nearby area. So
but that's awesome because that's how it's depicted to be. So yeah.
You'd have a lot of farms and such like that would be outside of the actual town limits, but would still go to the town to do trade, which is very common in medieval cities and towns and such like that. That a lot of the folk actually lived outside of the actual major metropolitan type areas of any sort.
Yeah.
And they bring their goods into town to sell them. So I made sure to put that in there because that made complete sense.
So we got the Arcane Promenade, which is called Phantasma Stables.
Yeah, you're not allowed to laugh at my puns.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
There's one of them that's in there. Look at the name very well. If you've played old video games, you'll recognize the one name immediately.
What's Zoltan?
Try again.
Oh.
Phantasma of Goria.
Oh.
That was a magazine, right? Phantasmagoria? Wasn't that a magazine?
That was a game.
Yeah, that's why I never played it, but I think I've seen it somewhere. Phantasmagoria.
It was a late 90s, early 2000s game.
Yeah.
And I love the name, and it stuck with me for years. So I'm like, I'm using it.
Very cool. Into the all-seeing eye.
Yep.
And they got Dragon Chest there. Perfect.
Yep, Dragon Chest, 3 Dragon Ante, a ton of other games. Actually, I believe one of the servants there, Rasbag, actually has a brother in Diamond Lake. I think it's mentioned in there.
Rasbag is a brother in Diamond Lake who works at the Emporium. This is Kellic, who's supposedly the Dragon Chest champion of GREYHAWK. Does he ever show up here?
I would say that he would occasionally, but I don't think Tensor likes him too much, and he's also a seeker.
Yeah, he's a butthead. He's really arrogant. Yes, Kellic is very, and he cheats too.
Oh God, I see another one of my puns.
Gerald Glass Goldsmith?
Nope.
Arendelle Holstein?
Nope.
Oh my. Bronna Coldstone, Cameron Amdeep. Give it to us.
Anna, you're going to recognize
Hugh Gotalvacker?
Huge Tallywhacker.
Huge Tallywhacker. There we go. See, I'm not the only one.
Catch that one right away.
I'm not the only one that does stuff. So yes. I have a place called the Third Shaft Inn, right? in Altamira. Yeah. So there you go. No. Yeah. We all do it. That's awesome.
Yep.
So I'd say that there's
another one up right there. If you go up,
Fanny Baggy. Oh my God!
Oh, that one's from my daughter. She thought that was her name. I said, "Give me a funny name," and she's like,
Victor Hugo.
Fanny Baggy.
Victor Hugo.
Victor V. Hugo.
Yeah.
Halfway in. Yep.
Oh my
V for Vendetta reference.
Yeah.
Hugo Weaving.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Man, you're on a roll, dude. That's all. That's all good. It's all good. The halfway in, yeah. So,
like I said, some names are puns because I think that's just fun. It adds a little zest to it.
It does.
So people who are sitting there looking for silly stuff, they're just back. Okay, it's not crazy all over the place, but he knows when to sneak them in.
So I would say this is one of those places that if someone were to attempt to attack this from sea or a group of an evil adventuring party, there's so many high level characters here. It would be stupid to do. Kind of like a lot of other places. Like
it would not be in their best interest, even if Tensor wasn't home.
Yeah.
Because there's so many magical defenses that are already in place. There's a dimensional lock that blocks out teleportation.
Right, within the confines of the tower or Mage Point as well.
Mage Point as well.
So you can't teleport in. Can you teleport
Correct.
out? Can you teleport out?
Nope, not unless you are allowed.
Okay.
I would think that in some cases you would have to have like a certain command phrase or something like that.
So no dimension door, no teleport.
No dimension door, no teleport, no plane shift, no nothing.
Okay, but if you're in the know and you're able to do that, it's an advantage.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
That makes sense. I like that. Yeah, that's good. There is
it seems very Tensor to keep the riffraff out, so to speak.
Yeah, someone said that Tensor created the guards and wards spell. Is that true? I don't know that. For
I don't recall ever hearing him create that spell.
Yeah, I didn't hear that either. So
I can see him. It does feature heavily into Tensor's castle, though. Yeah,
right.
It was used in Return of the Eight. I do remember that for
yep.
sure.
Yep. Absolutely. That's all right, Dark Elf. No big deal. It could have been in a different edition. It could have been like mentioned in third or fourth edition or something, and we just missed it. All right, so you got a lot of wow. This is really detailed. Look at this. We're not even halfway down the scroll here. So, what other highlights? All right, so here's the sidebar for this. I know we went through Return of the Eight, noting how detailed it was there. So you just sidebarred it here. Anything that you'd like to change for the tower that's in Return of the Eight? I know
my biggest change that I wanted to bring into the Fortress of Unknown Depths was I wanted to get some of Ernie's feedback and put some things in there that were personal to him.
Makes sense.
But like I said, that opportunity's been lost because Ernie passed away, and then Mage Point never came out, so Tensor's Castle never got the green light.
And Ernie's been ill for the last couple of years, so he just
yeah,
it probably would have been. It was tough to coordinate with him. So you got here's North Farmstead District. So you really got this sprawling.
Yes.
A lot more than it was before, which is kind of.
Yes, it's had a lot of growth actually since the GREYHAWK Wars. A lot of people went looking for places for safety.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Safe refuge, some place to go. The old beacons of light thing. They went to some place that they thought that they would feel
GREYHAWK
safe.
was stable, was one of these places that didn't get much affected, and yeah.
So I'm gonna just the size of the scroll through on this. Do you think 530s? I guess you got plus 1500 in the outlying, so it's about 2000, right? Counting the outlying area. I think that's probably right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the major part of town itself has the small amount of residents, and then you have another 1,500 live in the nearby area. The surrounding domain.
So is fishing the main industry for the common folk here? Besides
fishing, farming is actually a huge one because if you remember, it's a rolling hills area. So you can plant farms, especially orchards. You can plant a lot of different things. And it's got its own food sources. They can raise animals because they've got rolling hills again, so you can actually have them raised. And you can use natural terrain to help keep them in place when you have like any cliffs or anything like that. So you'd only have to pen off, say like if you had a cliff on like the north side, you'd be able to only have to pen off 3 areas.
Darling, we got Rick Dewey, Carthar Miller on. We're talking Tensor, everything you want to know about Tensor and its location Mage Point, which is going to be coming out in it's not Visions, right? It's the Grey Grimoire. Very cool. Very soon. And we've talked about that's all good. We're having fun tonight. We're having fun chatting this up. All good. So
hey, Jay,
yes, sir.
Check your messages in
Discord.
I have a magic present in there for you that has a whole bunch of Tensor magic items updated.
Really?
It's a preview file. It is not completed.
So if I were to, let's see, it's in PDF.
If you were to show it,
I will show a sneak peek real quick, but I got to pull it down though. If I crash the stream, everyone here, I apologize. But here we go.
If you crash the stream, it's my fault.
Downloading there. All right, so it should have downloaded now. There it is. Okay,
it's almost there. It just finished.
There we go.
Big file.
Oh, this is the entire file.
This is the entire compendium incomplete.
Oh wow, everyone! All right, so this is in 5th edition. So eat away. This is like every magic item that you can think of that's named, right?
Yep.
So like here, the Adjudicator, Akala.
Contents isn't done yet.
Yeah, let's see what we got here. Armor in the Roll. Axe of Grounding. Let me go to T and just see.
Earth Blood. That is mentioned right there. Earth Blood is mentioned in Return to the Eight.
The Gauntlet, right there. The Gauntlet. Yep. Frost Razor.
Artifacts.
There you go. Freedom's Tongue. Frazor Blue's Staff. Oh my God, these are all in 5th edition.
And the fun part about this article, when it comes out, it is going to be on DM's Guild, and it is going to be pay what you want.
There you go.
Fantastic.
I will say that I put a lot of Adobe stock art into this, which does use some AI. But realize one thing. I was very picky about my AI choices. I needed them to be artists that were using AI as a tool to create their art.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Not as a quick fix.
And these are all converted into 5th edition, everyone. So, wow, this is going to be awesome. What's the date you think on this?
It'll be out in May. I'm finishing it now.
Wow.
Right there, I've still got some old leftovers. That was an old layout style that you just went by.
Right.
But the new layout style, I think, should be at the top.
There's stuff in here I don't even know what it is in old school. Lender's Matrix.
Yep. And even if you look, there's your reference right there at the very bottom of every magic item.
Scarlet Brotherhood.
Where it came from.
Wow. I can go back and look.
The page number where it came from.
Yeah, this is good, Patrick. I want everyone to get excited about this to download it on DM's Guild. So, yeah,
the nice part is Patrick and anybody else is it will be in PDF form, and even my own eyes, I have to zoom it in. But if I was going to do it any larger in a text,
can you supply it in Markdown or pages? Yeah, can you supply it in Markdown or something like that as well as PDF, or is it PDF only?
It's going to be PDF only to start off with, and we'll see where it goes from there. I might have to go and reformat it eventually into a printable size.
Yeah,
which means that I'd have to go and change the margins a bit so that you could print it off and still have a good area to fold the booklet.
Lover's Lash, Demonicon of Igwolf. Dungeon Magazine 149, Savage Tide, Path, Enemy of My Enemy. There you go. That is awesome, because then you can go back. Like if I want to convert it to 1st edition, I can just go back and find it. And it's a 3rd. It's easy to convert back. So, wow.
All Tensor's items are in there, too. You can word search it through, and you can just type in Tensor, and you're going to be able to find Tensor.
I didn't know there was a Mesa Chias.
Yep, Mesa Chias is actually... If you scroll down, it'll tell you exactly where it's from.
Yeah, Age of Worms.
It's from Age of Worms.
Yeah, Dawn of a New Age page. All right, there you go.
Yep.
St. Cuthbert.
And I even have the how to destroy them.
Yeah, I see that. Destroying the Cudgel. Yeah. Wow, dude. How long is this taking you?
I started that article. I started it last year, probably about September.
So it's less than a year.
Some pitfalls with it at first,
Triumph.
There you go. Look at that image. There you go. Get to that one.
This one?
Scroll up just a little bit for that image. That was the Tome of the Black Heart.
Okay.
And the Guardian Demon Kurzit.
That's pretty gross looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he has tentacles for his upper arms, and he has bug arms for his lower arms. And believe it or not, that image is not only AI, but that is a Rick Miller special of photoshopping. Spent probably about 5 hours on just that image.
So you took that image, you really did all the edits yourself, cut and paste, and layered it.
That's how you can use AI. Really cool.
You can take an AI image.
You can concept using AI, and then
that's smart.
I refined it.
Triumph, Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, page 176. Yeah, this is going to be good for me just to go through and look at items that I have never used before, because I've never, I never like looked through them for the magic items in Living Greyhawk Gazetteer. You know what I mean? I'll be able to find some cool things.
This version should have scroll to the bottom pages for a second.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to the very bottom pages, I have artifacts in there.
Yeah.
That right there, right, it's what you're looking at.
Yep.
That is a resources list. Every item and everything that I resourced and who wrote it.
Wow.
They get credit.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah,
all
that's
of them.
Fantastic. Yep.
When I got to Dragon and Dungeon Magazine, I put a little thing that said various authors, too many to name.
Yeah, that's really you can't.
Yep.
Too many.
And as you see here, the other resources list, there's Cannon Fire, Encyclopedia Greyhawkia, Grodog's site, Mike's site, Malden's site, Oworth Journal, and right there, the Wikidot for any of the items that I could not put in there because of DM's Guild's rules,
right?
Which are if the item has been published with the new rules, you cannot put it in there. But those two websites at the bottom, guess what? They're online. You can click that, and you can just go from my resource to that, and you have the stats.
Nice. That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful, man.
Alden.
Well, I'm so glad you came on and shared this.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not giving anyone this. Hey, look, Malden's on. Hey, thanks for the nod, Malden says. That's awesome.
Definitely. This.
You got some in memoriam pages.
This will be coming out, and that's not quite done yet.
You need to put Ernie in here, right? Of course.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet. I've got to figure out where I'm going to fit that.
Right.
I had the two started. I've actually got one. If you scroll up further, there's a list in there that was Grodog's artifacts list. It's up further, right above this area.
There's Jason.
Right there, Zavoda's.
Oh, yep.
And there is the artifacts list updated with every artifact.
Wow.
That was ever done and where it came from that was originally Grodog's.
Oh,
from he
site.
Gets credit for the original one.
Dude, insanity. Yeah, it's Miller time. Let me tell you. Wow. That is nuts. Absolutely.
I don't do anything small, obviously.
Yeah, but that is so fantastic. That you've and you spent the time. Spent the time to do that. Yeah. Check check Tower of Deception and Dungeon Magazine. That's what I'm thinking. Look that up. Justinius, Tower of Deception. I think that's a good tower adventure. It's in Dungeon.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Now, I couldn't put any of Rob Kuntz's stuff in here that wasn't actually linked directly to Greyhawk. So that stuff is not in there.
Right, because he's putting it out himself now too, right? Is that why, or just?
What's that?
Because he's putting it out himself, or?
Because it did not have direct some of the stuff he did third party.
Okay.
I couldn't do that because it wasn't directly a direct World of Greyhawk resource.
Right.
Would have loved to. Now all of his Mauer Castle stuff, that's in there.
Right, but not his stuff for the Times of Robilar and all the third
Yeah, I
and
couldn't put that
like
in
this
there.
stuff and like this stuff.
I would have
And
loved to,
Karen and the
but
Skeleton King and all the other and all the other publications. No, it's
Yep.
understandable, man.
Yep.
Wow.
If you scroll down, I'd like some people to see if you scroll down into the weapons section.
Yep.
The first block, you saw the old version when you scrolled in there. Get into weapons, and you're going to see.
How far down?
There. That's perfect. Right there. Page 69 right there. That is what the new blocks look like.
Okay.
I took the old style block because I didn't like it, and I made it take up a whole side.
Okay. Got
So get back to it, and we'll find it here in a second.
Here's the helms.
Right there. You're right at it now.
Yeah. Okay.
That is one of the sections that you're going to see. I've used the 5th edition template. The 5th edition template uses a lot of that. I wanted people to have the same feel going into a GREYHAWK article as they feel when they go into the Dungeon Master Guide.
Okay.
So I want the same looking feel. You go in, you get pictures of a lot of the magic items. However, the biggest thing is I couldn't do pictures of everything. And to anybody who might have some issues with the AI art, and I mean this in the most positive way, I am an artist myself. I could not have possibly got all of this art.
Yeah, I'm
next two
torn.
editions would be out by the time I got all the art.
Yeah, and I'm torn, meaning I'm also an artist in some sense. So I can both make use of it and I will be replaced by it. So I'm torn. I can see great uses for it, and I can also see it's very, very morally dubious at the same time.
You have it as pay what you want, which means if you don't feel like you should pay for it, someone should pay for it because they are, that's fine. You know? Yeah.
Yep.
So.
And that is the entire thing right there. That's why it is a pay as you want. If you have an issue with the AI art in there that I put in there, you could pay $0. I don't care. This is for the community.
Right.
I don't care how much I make off of this. This is for you guys.
Yeah.
This is not for me.
I agree. And you've done me a favor, man, because I'm always like trying to find, I try and create unique magic items, but I want to find something. Wow, I've never used that before. Like, now I have a reference and I can, and I can go back where it is and take a look, research it, and see if it makes sense to appear in my campaign. And that's it. That's it. So, yeah. Very cool, man. And you ought to be extremely commended on all this because just putting this together is Herculean. The references for all of it, and this plus Mage Point, man, you're keeping busy. And all the other stuff you're doing. It's much appreciated, man. Thank you so very much.
And Dark Elf, that is absolutely your opinion, and I absolutely respect that. You don't have to pay anything.
Right.
You don't even have to take it. If you don't like it, well, you don't have to download it.
For me, I don't even care about the art. I care about what's written. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the name of the thing, the background on it, where it's referenced. If I can work it into my campaign, then where it makes sense, an item. Like I've used, for example, out of GREYHAWK Adventures. Oh my God, my brain shut off. The one that it makes you immune to getting decapitated. Oh my God.
Oh, I know the name of it.
And I was like, perfect. It's a perfect item. And so we've used that,
Yeah.
Prism
that item's in there. It's in there.
Yeah. So I appreciate that, man. I think it's wonderful. Thank you so very much. So finishing up here as we're over time, which is awesome. Any final thoughts on Mage Point?
I would have liked to have added more, but unfortunately there was a page limit.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just fantastic. Yeah.
How are you going to fit this in it's 167? It's how many pages is it? 40? It's almost the entire.
I believe Mage Point was about 32 to 40 pages.
That's like most publications are. That's almost half of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Norker's got an easy month if he's right.
Well, this will be Sam. This will be.
Oh, it's Sam. That's Sam. I'm sorry.
Correctly, it's going to be one of the first ones that Sam and
Sam's
I
doing.
are
All right, cool. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's excellent.
So, early copies, just so everybody knows, early copies of the Magic Item Compendium will go out to people to look for errors before I put it up on DM's Guild. If you want to be part of that group to look at it, you let me know. I
want to.
Yeah, you send the email to the one that I'm typing into the group right now.
And of course, you can send me an updated version anytime via Discord. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get one. Gary gets one. Mortalon gets one. Malden will get one. Anybody who helped contribute something to it is getting one in one way or another. Anybody that's part of the GREYHAWK community that just wants to look and go, hey, can I take a peek? Absolutely, take a peek. When it goes up on DM's Guild as a final thing, then
Dennis,
we'll be good
awesome.
to go.
Fantastic. Yep.
For me, I never forget, and I don't know where I found it, but I remember downloading when you did the 3rd edition one, and I was like, whoever did this had too much time on their hands. I didn't realize it was you all those years. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it's crazy that the 3rd edition one. So this is updated to 5th, everyone. So like I said, for me, I'm not going to do 5th edition stats. I'm going to find it, back reference it, figure out what it would be in my 1E, 2E stats, which is not going to be that difficult. But like some of these things I don't even know exist. There's so much in here, which is really, really awesome.
Everything from every Dragon magazine, everything from every core-based module, everything that I could put in. I did not put in Oworth Journal. Wish I could have, but that belongs to the authors that did stuff in Oworth Journal. That's not mine to give. So,
I mean,
those types of items. If somebody were to ask, can you convert that? Probably.
So, last question. Back to Tensor. How are you using Tensor right now in your campaign? Is he an overseer? Is he sending your group out on missions, or is he, what are you doing, Rick, with Tensor in your campaign?
Tensor in my campaign was kind of a backgroundish character. I wanted him to help achieve a drive, get the players going in the right direction, but not so much that he's telling them what to do or showing up and going, problem solved, So
right. Okay.
So that's my thing. I wanted him to be there, is also to use him as a springboard for ideas the players didn't think of.
Right.
So
that
they're like,
understand.
well, we could use the hand of Vecna or something like that against Caius, and Tensor's the first person going, do you know how many lives that hand has burned? And then he's like, my own included.
No, that makes so much sense. Absolutely. Man, I know you worked a long day. I really appreciate you coming on, and especially sharing that surprise. Wow, that's awesome. That's great.
Double whammy here.
Double whammy here, yeah. And Gary, thank you for sharing that Mage Point article with me, so that we could, with Mike being under the weather, and just I'm so glad you were able to hop on. So, is there anything else you'd like to, shout out or share with us here, Rick? What else?
Obviously, I've come on board the Grey Grimoire.
Okay.
I'm helping Sam, and obviously, you're going to see those kinds of layouts moving into the Grey Grimoire.
Okay.
So I will not be using anything that is not an actual artist or anything like that in Grey Grimoire, unless it is explicitly stated. If we do that, and that's completely up to Norker, Sam, and everyone else to make those decisions.
Right.
I just take what I'm given and try to, in some cases shine it up, and in some cases you shine everything up. In some cases you shine up a turd. So but everything is fan based at that point.
Right.
After the Magic Item Compendium comes out, it will be Veil of the Mage is another one that is coming back out.
Oh, okay.
I mentioned that one earlier.
Yep.
But it is going to have a similar layout. Savage Baron had started it, and I am going to talk to Savage Baron and take it back from him and just kind of work with the layouts he had and develop that further. So, and on top of that, I'm now working also the Beyond the Flyness project with Craig and Thor Thunder.
Nice.
So Beyond the Flyness is coming back in a big way. And
cool.
Anna, we will be bugging you about maps.
Because the two books had come out last year or sometime in late 2023, early 24, right? So more beyond those two is what you're talking about.
Yeah,
right?
we're going to create a primer first for everyone.
Okay.
Similar to what we had back around early 2000s, 2003 to 2008. Create a primer and put stuff out there, and then we're going to have it come up and say, look, this is wide open. We want people to contribute. We
Beautiful.
don't care if you contribute a town. We don't care if you contribute a monster. But I would like our platform for Beyond the Flyness. We'll have gazetteers. And then I would like to take all the articles, like singular little articles, and move them into Grey Grimoire to expand even further. Okay. So stuff that we can't put in the gazetteers would move into Grey Grimoire. And there would be a wide open space for that. Wide open space. We'll set the stage, and you guys develop the way you want, because that is what GREYHAWK is all about.
Yep. Tensor's still alive in my campaign. Yeah, he was brought back in Return of the Eight. It's part of the adventure. Good question. Alrighty. So, Anna, what do you got going on here?
I have a live stream on Friday, as usual, and now it's starting to get there. I've mapped a heck of a lot, and soon there will be a chance to properly unveil or kind of show off the new generation of GREYHAWK maps. There've been teasers, and I've been whatever, but now I'm close to getting the first areas done, so to speak, and I think they will look good. Yeah, they will look really good. And I'm just ironing out the last kinks when I'm putting the things together, and then it's texturing some of the areas. So I will start out with some smaller pieces just to show off the quality, and then when that is done, we can ramp up production, so to speak. And I'm right now done. We're not talking thousands of square miles, not tens of thousands. We're talking hundreds of thousands of square miles with stuff that is done. So it's starting to take shape, and there's still a couple of little issues here and there, but it's nothing that now it's solvable, so to speak. So it's been a long journey to go there, but now and also got a new version of World Machine to play with very, very soon. That because I figured there was a couple of errors that were in there, so they will be fixed for me, and soon I will have a better one so I can render in even higher resolution at once. So this is and the quantity of output has been low for a bit. That's because I want to. But remember the GIS maps I did like 6 months ago? That was like an onslaught of stuff. Wait a few weeks, and we can hopefully start seeing a little bit of the same thing with a new series of stuff. So. So if you want to sneak peek, look in on Twitch on Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific, so you can see some of it in action, so to speak. I will probably work on texturing and stuff on Friday. That's my guess.
Thanks, Pat.
So yep, but it's starting to look good, and I just wanted to just work to get this damn thing out the door, the first batch, so to speak. So yep.
All right, for me, we'll do this real quick. We already announced this, so I really appreciate the support there. So tomorrow, Alan's company, Black Blade, will be giving away one of each of these, Cairn of the Skeleton King and Tower of Blood, the sequel. I am running Cairn of the Skeleton King. There they are. They finally have made it into the deeper chambers. So that is the characters there, and a larger picture of the area as they continue inward. as we continue this. I don't think they'll finish tomorrow, but you never know. It's possible. It's possible if it goes a certain way. And that is Rob Kuntz's Karen Skeleton King tomorrow night, 7:30. We start that. No stream this weekend, my son's birthday, so I won't have a Saturday. But there's Saturday events packed after this. In 2 Saturdays, I'm still working on the final group. The Bone Baddies are back, so I got 5 players of 6. I'll be reaching out for a 6th soon. Coco, Timothy, Kara Paul, Dessa, and Korg in on that, and that will be Saturday at 12:30. The week after that is a doubleheader and on the second banner, but I got Brett's Champions game first at noon, and then at 6 I got a Slav Squad / 2-drink minimum crossover with let's see, Coco. I got Bones, Darling, Ed Greenwood, and Eric Mengi in that game. And that will be coming up. That's the 17th. So lots going on. All right, so let's do the giveaway. All right, you get your choice of 2. I will give away a reference book and an adventure module to the winner. Oh wow, second hype train. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So let's see what we got here, and then we're gonna raid into someone. Bones isn't on tonight. So we'll figure it out here, but let me do this. I'm gonna hit the wrong button here because I always do. And Rick, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
Anytime, man.
Yeah.
You managed to tag me right at the right time.
Right place, right time. Sometimes, man. In order to be good, you gotta be lucky. Sometimes, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let's see who wins tonight. The winner tonight is Turbo KKV. Turbo KKV. As long as you're in chat. You are a winner, and I see you. So I don't know. I need your. I don't think I have your full name and address. So please whisper that to me, and I'm probably going to send you the new. I'm definitely going to send you this, the new World of GREYHAWK Gazetteer revised, which is awesome, right? And then an entry-level adventure or something, maybe Tomb of the Lizard King. Which would be good. It's a great adventure. So let me just send him a quick. He hasn't responded, but he's probably lurking. Any last thoughts before I get out of here? As I catch my wife before she crashes.
I just want to say thank you again, Ricky, for coming on and all the amazing work. I'm so looking forward to have a list of magic items like that. I remember your NPC list is fantastic, so useful. So yeah.
Yep, and there's a list of every magic item in there. I'm going to have to bug Gary to add one more because he's like, you missed one, and I'm like, you didn't give any stats for it.
Any one final question: when can we expect Mage Point to come out? Do we have a
Sam and I are working on making that one come through.
Okay.
Right now they're trying to get 5. To get done, but Sam and I are thinking we might try to get 6 done. But I told him, I said, I got to get the magic item compendium out first before we attempt that. I said, because this project is so colossal that there's just not even words for it.
No, and it's something once it's out, and everyone's going to really love it too. You know, I agree. I'm shocked, man. I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. So, oh my god, guys. What are you doing? I can't raid out in the middle of a massive hype train. So
you have to wait a bit here.
Gotta wait a little bit here. Jeez, thank you. So what else can I discuss here? I have not. So Alan Growy asked if I was going to run Tower of Blood right after because it's a sequel. I'm not doing the ghoul part of this, if you know what I'm talking about. But this one we'll see. But I really like this so far. It's Rob Kuntz. Rob does a lot of descriptive, puzzle-like things that can be frustrating and then are very rewarding. And he loves creating stuff that no one's ever heard of before. So, like when I saw that he took 3 swords, these 3 golden swords last week, that you had to meld together and create this really unbelievable weapon, I was like, wow, that's a great idea. So Rob is still, he was on his game when he was making this stuff. So it's really, it's a golden kappa. Are you serious? I have a golden kappa right now. Oh my God. I didn't even realize I had a golden kappa going.
I wonder what can you explain to us non-Twitch
a golden kappa is a 1%, less than 1% special hype train. I think I've only had 3.
Okay.
3. This is my 4th one ever, I think. Holy jeez.
Wow. Yep. I'm Twitch illiterate. For the most part, so,
golden kappas are so rare. And then you get bonuses on that. You get bonuses on the amounts and all that stuff. So, yeah, wow. Golden kappa it up, brother. So this will be going on a little bit, so we got to wait a little bit here. So, wow.
Waiting for that.
My gosh. Very cool. I'm trying to think here. So yeah, you will see. So we'll have the Bone Baddies on May 10th. That'll be a noon game, like 12:30, and then on the 17th, we'll have that doubleheader with Ed back playing Ravalantar. But you'll see you'll have some Slav Squad characters, and you'll have some 2-drink minimum characters. And I have 5 players in that, and I'm probably gonna have 1 more, maybe 2 more for that one. But I'm really excited about continuing some GREYHAWK Con stories. And if you all remember, what happened at GREYHAWK Con was at the end of the Deadly Challenge with Ravalantar fighting a GREYHAWK Mage of Rari, who was, because remember, Ravalantar's a GREYHAWK Mage of Alaluk. So this GREYHAWK Mage of Rari didn't like Ravalantar, but they ended up taking care of him. But Rosie failed her save and was going to die. And then Eric Menge's Halfling Guardian, I looked at him and said, "Do you want a quirk of fate to happen?" He looks at me and says, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I will give you the option. You can die for her right now, and she'll live." And he's like, "Yep." And he died instead, which is really. Has everyone seen that picture? As I'm waiting for this hype train to end here, so I'm babbling a little bit. See if I got the dead Eric Menge picture here, which is it's a hysterical picture. Pics. I think it's going to be day 3, set 3. Yeah.
Here it is. Jay. When I go to release that on DM's Guild, we'll schedule whenever you want me to come on.
Absolutely, man.
Go through it page by page if people want to pick it apart in a good way, bad way. I'm open anyway. Either way, constructive criticism hurts nothing.
Of course.
Something good to say. We're
good.
Yep.
Absolutely. Hey, Folkamyth. Yeah, so look at that. So there's the dead Eric Menge in that one. And let me see what else I got. I got some other pictures from that day. So there's the group.
Wow.
Yeah. There's Ed, Darling, Jeremy, Tony Winslow-Brittle, Eric Menge, Chuck, Josh Haley, Brian Danger, Jagasak, and then the other gentleman wasn't there yet. Yes, so yeah. So
I can recognize immediately the 2 to your side because they're on a lot.
Yeah, Darling and Ed.
Yep.
Yeah, Darling Creepshow and Ed. Yeah, the legendary Ed Greenwood. So yep.
Chuck. Yep.
Yeah, Chuck. It was a great group. And for me, I can't like resist. Like, I can't say no, so it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's like, oh my God, it's a lot of characters. I'm like, we're there to have fun. So, but yeah, I'm just looking to see if I have. I'm waiting for the hype train to end. We got 1:30. Yeah.
You got to send that picture to me so I can edit the one for Eric Menge underneath it and see if I can Photoshop it in underneath his badge. But it was nappy time.
Yeah.
Secondary badge.
Yeah, he
doable.
he played a good dead character.
Yeah.
He was sending me notes. I don't know if we can see that. No, I don't have any of them. But he was like, "Don't crit Rosie." He was putting like little notes on my screen because he was sitting next to me on the one side. So yeah. He was sending me all these. Yeah, it was funny. It was a really good time. So We're almost there. Once the Golden Kappa ends, I'm going to raid out. And just because I'm going to raid into someone who's part of the community, Coco's going to get a huge raid. So we're going to raid into her. Yeah, that's what we're going to raid into. Sound good for everyone? Almost there. I have to officially let this end though. It's a Golden Kappa. Thank you all for the support, and Rick, once again, thanks for coming on, man. It really made the end of end of it. We went over a lot of detail, and I was probably babbling on, giving it a lot of people, because a lot of people I don't think realize, number one, Tensor dies. You get to From the Ashes box set and he's dead, and then Roger Moore undoes it. So a lot of people don't realize he's come back, and irrespective of what happened in Vecna Lives, because, they all die in Vecna Lives. So, there's a lot of dying going on during that era and the Falcon, you can kill off a bunch too. Thanks, Jeff, and look at that. Thank you very much. I got a Golden Kappa head. There we go. Yes. Got the Golden Kappa head for a little bit there. Thank you all for making that happen. That was really kind of you all. Really, really appreciate it. So hit the choo-choos up, and then we're going. Poggers, you just unlocked the elusive Golden Kappa emote for the next 24 hours. So good. So you guys can all show that off. The Golden Kappa head. Show that off tomorrow in the stream as we do these great giveaways from Black Blade Publishing, and then we're going to raid into Coco. Please sit tight on there. She's at 11 viewers, so if 95 go in, we'll put her over 100. I don't know if she's ever been over 100 before. That'd be awesome. All right. Sit tight. 24-hour stream. Yeah, I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it. Sunday night, the discussion came up. Stronghold Tim said, I'd like to run an adventure that's just multiple sessions. Because, we usually run stuff with no resting and stuff. And so I was like, the problem with that is everyone's all spread out, right? And we don't know if we're going to keep everyone. And then he goes, well, we'll run it all in the same day. I'm like, so you mean a 24-hour stream? So I think I'm going to do Baldrin's Beacon for a group. In 24-hour stream. It's either that or Showcanth. I'm not. I think I want to do Baldrin's Beacon. I think that's Showcanth's a little more momentous. I think I'll do Baldrin's Beacon. So, yep. Sound good? All right. See you all. Let's hit the wrong button here. Remember, I have a brand new stream deck here. Let's see if it works. Oh! Of course, Coco's the bestie. Absolutely. All right. We only went a half hour late. That's awesome. Thank you for the Golden Kappa. Here we go. I don't know what the game is. It's some kind of it's called Love in Deep Space, but who knows? Who cares? All 95. Awesome. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give her some love. See you tomorrow night. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Awesome.
95. That's a good number for Legends lore. Yeah.